Husband!
Wife!
I have to say something.
Do you?
I have to apologize.
Yeah, you do.
I fucked us all up. Well, here's what happened. I babysit for my best friend.
Yeah.
And their baby got sick and gave it to me.
Yeah.
And so I had fever and headache and sniffles and sinus stuff, and it was horrible. And even just reading made my head hurt, so I just slept for a day and a half instead of being alive.
Right.
So
so here we are.
So I put our whole schedule for the weekend off.
Yeah.
So here it is, Sunday night, we're recording this, and sorry.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into it.
Okay, sorry.
All right.
Sorry. Sorry. Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys.
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Hey wife, did you know that Anchor is sponsoring our show?
Really? Don't we use Anchor to distribute our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts?
Yeah, and we are on just about every other platform available as well, thanks to them.
Why do we use Anchor as our podcasting service?
Well, they make editing and distributing our show a breeze.
What if one of our listeners wants to start their own podcast?
Then they should head over to anchor.fm or download the app to get started.
Awesome! You guys should go do that right now! Husband!
Wife!
Do you know what we're doing today?
We're starting a new fucking book of the Bible.
It really doesn't feel like a new book, though, because it's just a continuation.
It's Second Kings, not First Kings anymore, but Second Kings.
It's the same book.
I mean, yeah.
Part 2.
Right.
It's just part 2
of
they made the same book.
Yeah, right.
So that's less exciting.
It is less exciting.
But still, we get to mark it off a list as another one down the hole.
Yeah, so instead of marking one book off, we can mark 2 books off.
Woohoo!
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to do chapter 1 of 2 Kings.
Sounds good. Let's go do it.
Let's go do it.
Hey wife, do you like coffee in the morning?
I sure do, husband. Morning, noon, night. Which reminds me, I need to add that to our grocery list because we're running low.
Wait, before you do that, check out the website ungodlybrew.com where you can purchase a pound of your favorite flavor of coffee.
What if I want more than 1 pound?
Either order a larger amount, or better yet, get 10% off by setting up a subscription for every 2 weeks or a month or whatever works for you.
Did you set up something special for our listeners?
You know I did. Exclusive for our listeners, get an additional 10% off subscriptions by entering the code SACRILEGIOUSCOFFEE at checkout.
That's a hellishly good deal.
Ungodly Brew is hellishly good coffee.
Okay, 2 Kings, chapter 1.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
After King Ahab's death. Call me Ishmael.
I was waiting for it. I almost said something else, but I was waiting for you to say that. I knew it was coming.
I was waiting for you to go, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
No, that's just in my head. I let you do whatever the fuck you want, so.
That's because you're a good husband like that. I appreciate that you allow me to do my things.
I mean, I have definitely criticized, even publicly on here when you do certain things, but I'm like, we get done with something, I'm like, please, don't do that again.
And then I just ignore you and do whatever I want
anyway.
Right,
generally. Sometimes you listen to me.
Sometimes I do. But
occasionally.
Not often.
I mean, it's hit or miss.
Often enough to stay married. So after King Ahab's death, the land of Moab rebelled against Israel.
Okay.
Because of course.
Sure, yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
Right.
One day, Israel's new king Ahaziah fell through the lattice work of an upper room at his palace in Samaria and was seriously injured.
Okay.
He fell through the lattice work?
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean?
Why was he on the fucking lattice work?
I don't... I mean,
That seems like lattice is like the interconnected wood that's got like holes all through it, like a fence, basically.
Yeah, was it like
why
on
was
his
he...
roof as one of the battlements and?
Right, but like, what was he doing on the fucking lattice work? That seems dumb.
That's what I'm saying. I don't get it.
I wouldn't walk on lattice work.
Did somebody shove him?
Maybe. I mean, that could be.
Okay, wait. He fell through it. Does this mean that like it was not the lattice work that stands up and down vertically, but probably like across horizontally?
Like an old-fashioned Florida room or something.
Okay, so he was standing on top of it.
Right,
and
that's what I'm thinking. Like that's the image that's in my head.
So he was standing on top of it and fell through. Why was he up there?
That's what I'm saying. Why the fuck was he up there?
Lattice work can't hold your weight.
Right. Well, I mean, maybe he was really light. Maybe he...
Okay,
I don't know.
You should always assume that lattice work is you're going to fall through.
Right,
you should always assume
don't stand,
that.
Like, yeah.
I would expect a child to maybe fall through because, like, I
mean,
dare
if
you.
you went to go buy lattice work at, like, Lowe's, they probably have a warning that says, don't stand on this.
Yeah, like, cannot...
This shit can't hold people.
Cannot exceed, like, a half pound.
Right? Yeah.
Like, no cats allowed. And
It's lattice work.
Our cat is 13 pounds.
It's lattice work,
our
dumbass.
Our cat would not be able to walk across lattice work without falling through.
I wouldn't want her to try it, yeah.
No. Good grief.
Right.
This guy's dumb. Okay.
Right.
He fell through that in his palace in Samaria. I like that they tell us where the palace is because maybe he's got more than one. It was the Samaria one.
Yeah, okay.
And he was seriously injured. So he sent messengers to the temple of Baal-zebub. Baal-zebub?
Maybe.
Okay. The god of Ekron. Oh, it is. It's Beelzebub.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
But they wrote it Baal.
Okay.
Instead of
Beelzebub.
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 Okay.
Okay.
I gotta...
We're gonna have to look that one up.
Yeah. Like, what's a Beelzebub?
Right, what's a Beelzebub?
Is it different from a Beelzebub?
I don't know.
How many bills would fit in a ball? The god of Ekron, to ask whether he would recover. Do you...
To add... What?
He's
asking a god.
He sent messengers to the temple of Beelzebub.
To ask a god that's not God. I mean, at least not God of the Bible.
Will I recover? Ask him, will I recover? Am I going to be okay?
Okay. So he's not asking God. He's asking...
that guy.
Beelzebub.
Yeah. But the angel of the Lord, there's only one.
Okay.
The angel of the Lord told Elijah, who was from Tishbe.
Oh, so Elijah's back.
He never went away.
I know, but they had like that, whatever, the
Elisha.
other ones. Well, no, there was two other prophets. There was the one that was like a certain prophet, and then there was Micaiah. That sounds right.
Yeah. I don't know.
So but he's back now.
He's back.
Elijah's back now.
Yeah, and so the angel of the Lord told him, go and confront the messengers of the king of Samaria and ask them, is there no God in Israel? Why are you going to Beelzebub, the god of Ekron?
Yeah.
To ask whether the king will recover.
The fuck?
Now, this is what the Lord says. You will never leave the bed you are lying on. You will surely fucking die.
Oh, damn.
Damn!
I guess that's gonna happen, because,
right?
That's what happens.
I mean, they weren't even asking him.
Right. No, he just inserted himself into the fucking conversation.
For no reason.
Right, yeah.
Like, what am I doing to you? I'm not bothering you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just sending my messengers to them instead of you. I thought maybe I didn't want to bother you.
But he's offending God by asking another God. That they're admitting is a God, apparently.
Yeah, because God is saying that God over there.
Don't ask that God, ask me.
Yeah.
Fucker.
So Elijah went to deliver the message. When the messengers returned to the king, he asked them, why have you returned so soon, fuckers? They replied, sorry, a man came up to us and told us to go back to the king and give him this message.
Yeah.
Quote, this is what the Lord says, is there no God in Israel? Why are you sending men to Beelzebub, the god of Ekron, to ask whether you will recover? Therefore, because you have done this, you will never leave the bed you are lying on. You will surely die. Sorry, end quote.
Right, but like, okay, you work for a king, right? Mm-hmm. Do you not fulfill his request?
Yeah.
You just come running back. Some random guy comes up to you who's like, hey, dude, God says this. You need to go tell your king. Don't you be like, dude, I work for the king. I got your message, but I got to go on and do this other thing first.
Right, so. And then you go back to the king and you're like, so, on the way there, this other guy told us XYZ, you're going to die. Mm-hmm. And then we continued on, and this is what we got from the other god, guys. Right. Beelzebub.
Yeah.
And, either it's the same, in which case, whoa, you're in really bad luck, sir.
Right. But wouldn't you fear being in trouble if you didn't come back with the message he sent you for?
Yes, I would. And anyway, I would be curious what the Beelzebub guy said.
And also, if you came back with that message from fucking God, I'd be like, I don't care what you got to do. Put me on a goddamn cart. Get me into that fucking econ place. You know, like, I don't need Yahweh's wrath here. Like, get me to that other God.
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Now.
Exactly. I'm not trying to get killed by him.
Right?
He's a smitey fucker.
Yeah.
What sort of man was he? The king demanded. What do you look like? They replied, he was a hairy man, and he wore a leather belt around his waist.
You know those hairy men that wear leather belts around their waist.
Elijah from Tishbe!
What the fuck?
The
he
king
knew him
exclaimed.
because he wore a leather belt and he was hairy.
because he was hairy.
That's what I said.
He's hairy.
He's hairy and
How
wears a
many
leather
hairy
belt.
people do you know?
Is he naked other than the leather belt? Because that's all they. I mean, that's it.
Maybe his hair was so hairy
he didn't need clothes.
It haired out of his shirt, like it popped out of the top of his neckline.
Maybe he was like Bigfoot, and he's like Bigfoot and just wore a belt around his waist. He could run really fast, so like
that's where they got the idea for Monsters Inc. Then he sent an army captain with 50 soldiers to arrest him.
Damn.
He's about to get it.
Right?
They found him sitting on top of a hill. The captain said to him, "Man of God, the king has commanded you to come down with us." But Elijah replied to the captain, "If I'm a man of God, let fire come down from heaven and destroy you and your 50 men. Oh, and guess what? Then fire fell from heaven and killed them all." That's what. How you like them apples? So the king sent another captain with 50 men.
See, why can't when I asked theists for proof, why can't something like that happen? Like, if I'm not a man of God, let da-da-da-da-da happen, and then God does it, and then you're like, shit, man.
Okay, fair enough.
Good enough.
I think I might examine this differently now.
Right. I mean, you do something like that in front of me, I'm going to be like, oh, fuck.
I will re-examine my premise.
Fire's falling from the sky, and you just ask for it to happen? Something's up.
Either you are a pyrotechnic.
Really good one.
Or maybe there's a God. I doubt it. Could have been coincidental airplane falling from the sky.
I guess, yeah.
I don't know. I'm just
saying. But back then,
I'm just saying I will re-examine my premise.
Sure.
I will
but it would definitely make me think, like if if it's that easy to prove, you just ask God to do something,
right?
And he does it,
exactly.
Then just do that,
just
guys.
Do it,
like, I mean, all you gotta do is ask him for fire, and he brings fire.
Clearly,
shit.
This book don't lie.
Right? Yeah. Right?
Yeah. So, okay, and I want to make another point. It says the king sent another captain with 50 men.
Oh, so
he does that a lot. But the only time it is okay to send someone after you lost the first group is in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Arthur Dent takes a drink, and he's not sure it does the job. So he takes another shot of whiskey to go track down the first shot to make sure it gets there.
Oh, that's definitely acceptable, yeah.
Yeah, right? That's the only time you send somebody in after.
When it comes to alcohol, you definitely got to check that first.
You got to make sure, yeah. And then I think he sends a third to check on the first two guys.
I mean, that's legit, yeah.
Right. But you don't send a whole captain and 50 men to go check on the first captain.
Assuming that the first captain and 50 men died too.
Right. The captain said to him, "Man of God, the king demands that you come down at once."
And are the charred remains still sitting there? Or
probably. Elijah replied, what do you think he replied?
If I'm a man of God, let da-da-da happen.
Fire come down from heaven.
Fire.
And destroy you and your 50 men.
And it happened.
And again, the fire of God fell from heaven and killed them all.
Okay.
Womp womp.
Yeah. And why? If it was this easy, why was he fucking running from Ahab earlier and shit? Like, not
Jezebel.
Running from Jezebel earlier. Like,
I would just be
he could have just dropped fire on their asses.
If I'm not a man of God, then God's gonna burn you and you and you and you, and I'd be pointing to everybody, but not him, not her.
It sounds like to me maybe Elijah had like a stash of like napalm around or something.
Oh damn!
And just like he lit it when they walked up. He's like, there you go. There's your fire.
He was a time traveler, and he had grenades.
There you go. You go.
And they were like, "This is godly," and he's like, "Nah, it's grenades, stupid."
I need to watch. That reminds me of Monty Python and the Holy Grail and the Holy Hand Grenade.
Oh,
that's such a great scene.
Those are good movies.
I'm just saying.
Monty Python.
That was all I had. Just Holy Hand Grenade.
Once more, the king sent a third captain with 50 men. That's just stupid.
Yeah, it is.
This is stupidity.
Like, one guy has killed 100 of your men.
Yeah.
And you're sending another 50. That's, yeah.
Makes perfect sense. This is called crazy, beating your head against a wall and expecting a different result.
Right, yeah.
But this time, the captain went up to hell and fell to his knees before Elijah.
Good on him. Yeah.
He pleaded with him, "Oh, man of God, please spare my life and the lives of these your 50 servants. See how the fire from heaven came down and destroyed the first two groups? But now please spare my life." Oh, he's smart. He's like,
he is.
"I'm only here because the king sent me. I didn't want to come. I have no choice. Understand this, please."
Right, yeah. But the second guy, though, like, I mean, there were... I don't understand why. Why would you just, like, die?
Right.
You know, like he must have been looking at the 50 charred remains, you know, and, like... Why?
What the hell happened here?
Right, yeah.
What goes on?
Like, I need to ask a few questions before we demand your presence at the king's court here.
This guy played it smart. He was like, "I'm only here because somebody else made me do it."
Right.
So then, this is so smart. Then the angel of the Lord said to Elijah, "Go on down with him and don't be afraid of him." Okay?
Yeah.
I just find it, like, funny that the first guy was like, or the first time a guy is like, "I'm scared of your God, please don't kill me."
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden God's like preening and he's like, "Okay, you can go with him now. I won't kill him. I'm pretty again."
Yeah.
So Elijah got up and went with the king. And Elijah said to the king, "This is what the Lord says." The Lord who thinks he's pretty now. The Lord who is so happy to be feared.
Yeah.
"Why did you send messengers to Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron, to ask whether you will recover? If there's no God in Israel to answer your question, therefore, because you have done this, you will never leave the bed you are lying on. You will surely die." So Ahaziah
Is that
died.
how it was said there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So Ahaziah died.
Oh,
just as the Lord had promised through Elijah.
Yeah, I mean, there it
happened.
is. Yep. God brought fire down on 100 guys, and he killed that king.
Yep.
And so,
but he spared that third captain and those third set of 50 men.
God must be real, right?
Must be real.
There's definitely thousands of year old text. This definitely proves it, right? I'm totally not convinced.
Since Ahaziah did not have a son to succeed him, his brother Joram became the next king.
Okay.
I'll tell you what really happened. His brother Joram killed him.
Right, probably.
The end.
Yeah, he's the one that pushed him through the fucking lattice.
Yeah, right? This took place in the second year of the reign of Jehoram, son of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah.
Okay.
The rest of the events in Ahaziah's reign and everything he did are recorded in
the King's Chronicle thing or whatever the fuck it is.
The end.
Yeah, that. All right.
Yep, that's what happened.
Yeah, God killed some people again.
As usual. Not to be, nothing surprising.
God's getting a little bit more, like we talked about it a few episodes back, like maybe in the middle of King somewhere. He was like kind of being more hands off and stuff.
Yeah,
but he's getting a little bit more directly involved with Elijah around.
Yeah, he is.
So that's interesting.
It's interesting. It's also like he wasn't being worshipped enough, and so that
right?
now he's like,
all right, I'm gonna get my hands dirty again.
Somebody call me pretty.
Yeah, I'm gonna light fire to some people, and that'll make them pay attention.
Besides, I like killing. I haven't done that in a few centuries.
Here, hold my beer.
Exactly.
See if I still got this.
Clearly he does.
Clearly, yeah.
Okay.
He's now been gone for how many eons?
Yeah.
I don't.
Do you think he got bored, or do you think he died?
Maybe he died.
Probably died.
Yeah, sure.
He's not eternal. I don't care what they say.
Or he's just made up by humans.
Oh, that one. I picked that one. I didn't know that was an option.
It isn't. It is an option. Yes.
Okay. I wasn't aware.
Okay.
That's the one I picked.
That's the one we're going with?
C. It's always C.
It's always C.
Yep.
C is always the best answer.
It's also stands for cookie.
I did take a test the other day for something. Yes, it does stand for cookie. Sorry, C is for cookie. That's good enough. That's good enough for me.
Okay, but you took a test.
I did. Yeah, I took a test the other day, and every answer was B. Every fucking answer.
It's lies. That test was a lie.
I mean, I'm just saying.
What test was it?
It was a training course thing that I had to take.
Oh, for work.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they made every answer B. And I'm like,
stupid.
Okay, well, Because I literally was just clicking through it to get done with it. And I started off by hitting B and it was right. And then I hit the next one that was B and it was right. And I was like, well, let's just hit B all the way through. And B. It was correct all the way through.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, that was easy.
That's so stupid. I'm so unimpressed with your workplace.
Right, yeah, I know. All right.
And you, to be honest.
I mean...
Like, you couldn't even be bothered to, like, read the questions. You were like, I don't care, la, la, la.
Correct.
So, you could be a brain surgeon, right?
I'm not.
We haven't revealed your occupation.
Correct. I promise nobody is affected by this.
You're not in the medical field.
I'm not in the medical field or anything that this would directly affect anybody that I work with.
Or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's all good.
It's all good.
All right. Well, that was 2 Kings, chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
And tomorrow we will be back with...
2 Kings, chapter 2. And just real quick, I want to say, Happy Labor Day.
Yeah, also, I forgot. We're going to be doing a Patreon episode tomorrow, too.
Oh, yeah. Finally.
And we're going to be announcing something, like a free giveaway for our patrons today. So, like, if you get this episode early today, you still got time to become a patron for us.
Yeah.
And then you will be eligible to claim something from our giveaway. It's mostly just leftover swag from our convention, but free shit, man. Free shit,
man.
And you can sign up for as low as $2 a month for the patron.
Yep. You really oughta.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, anyway, we'll see you guys tomorrow for the next episode, okay?
Bye.
Bye.
Husband.
Wife.
Do you remember what happened yesterday?
Some dude fell through lattice work, maybe got pushed. We don't know. But, he fell, and then he went to ask Beelzebub.
Bell with the ball, the bang,
yeah.
diggy.
And then he
asked him, am I going to be okay?
Yeah, but then they didn't actually, the guys that he sent to ask Beelzebub didn't actually make it there because they got stopped by Elijah, who then
Who's hairy.
Yeah, who's hairy.
Yeah.
He's really fucking hairy, apparently.
Yeah.
But then he was like, you're dead, and he killed 50 of them. And then the king sent 50 more, and then he was like, you're dead, and killed 50 of them. And then he sent a third one, and he was like, whoa, dude, what do you need? I'm all yours. Mm-hmm. And that was that.
That was that.
And then he died.
And then
the king died.
Yeah, because you were like, he said and he did, and
I'm sorry.
You were doing pronoun abuse.
I did.
Okay.
But the king died.
The king died.
After falling through the lattice and then sending troops to Beelzebub. Who got intercepted by Elijah.
The hairy man.
The hairy man.
Yes, that is what happened.
Okay.
You got it.
All right, so that was 2 Kings chapter 1. Mm-hmm. And today we're getting into
2 Kings chapter 2.
All right, let's go do this.
Okie dokie. Okay, 2 Kings chapter 2.
Okay.
And I got to read this headline, even though we're not
doing headlines.
Right. But I really like this headline.
Oh, okay.
Elisha succeeds Elijah.
Oh, so Elijah's going to die.
I mean, either that or he's going to hand off the baton.
Right. Or his hair overgrew his mouth so much that he couldn't speak anymore. So he's like, dude, I'm going to drown in this shit.
It's just I forget which one came first,
The chicken or the egg, right?
Oh, my God. You're annoying me today. Okay, so ready?
I'm ready.
When the Lord was about to take Elijah up to heaven in a whirlwind.
In a whirlwind, huh?
A fucking whirlwind. Damn. Elijah and Elisha were traveling from Gilgal. And Elijah said to Elisha, "Stay here, for the Lord has told me to go to Bethel." But Elijah replied,
This is
so confusing. "As surely as the Lord lives and you yourself live, I will never leave you." So they went down together to Bethel. They're besties.
Yeah.
That's cute. Two boys with the same name.
Right.
And they're best friends.
Yeah.
The group of prophets from Bethel came to Elisha and asked him, "Do you know that the Lord is going to take your master away from you today?"
Why do they know that?
Right?
Like, just
hey, guess what? Your mentor's gonna die today. Doo-dah, doo-dah.
Right? Yeah.
That's weird. Of course I know, Elisha said, but be quiet about it.
Okay. Does Elijah not know?
I don't know.
Okay.
Then Elijah said to Elisha, "Stay here, for the Lord has told me to go to Jericho." But Elisha replied again, "As surely as the Lord lives and you yourself live, I will never leave you."
Right.
So they went on together to Jericho. Okay. Then the group of prophets, I think we're going to see this happen again.
Okay,
ready?
Yeah.
Then the group of prophets from Jericho came to Elisha and asked him, did you know that the Lord is going to take away your master from you today?
Is it still the same day? I guess?
No, they went to a different town.
Oh.
They're traveling. They're walking around.
Okay.
Now they're in Jericho.
Okay.
So these prophets all over the fucking place just know.
Got it.
Of course I know, Elijah answered, but be quiet about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't get this. What is
I don't
happening?
I don't know.
And why do all of the prophets know? Why is Elijah saying, yes, I know, be quiet though? Like,
right.
What is happening?
And Elijah is a prophet too, so like, why doesn't he know?
He does know. He says, I know.
Elijah does.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right.
And he's the one telling him to be quiet.
Yeah, I had my Elijah mixed
Elijah, though, he's a prophet also, and so, like, why doesn't he know?
I think he does know.
Okay.
I think he does know.
All right.
Then Elijah said to Elisha, stay here, for the Lord has told me to go to the Jordan River.
Holy shit.
But again,
right.
Elisha replied, as surely as the Lord lives, and you yourself live, I will never leave you.
Right.
He's singing it now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. I will never leave you. So they went on together. 50 men from the group of prophets also went and watched from a distance as Elijah and Elisha stopped beside the Jordan River.
Okay.
Then Elijah folded his cloak together and struck the water with it. Boom!
Oh.
Bam!
What the hell?
I don't know. I made those noises out.
I know, but that was cool.
He struck the water with it.
Right, yeah.
Crash! Pow! The river divided.
What?
And the two of them went across on dry ground.
What the fuck? I didn't know there was a second parting of water. Or, I guess technically this would be three. Mm-hmm. There was the Red Sea. There was the river. Was it the Jericho? Wait, is it the Jericho River? Wait,
no. What are you talking about?
When they were it was just outside of Jericho. What was the river that they crossed with the ark?
I don't remember.
I think what's the name of this river?
This river is the Jordan.
Right? Yeah, so it was the Jordan. Yeah, so they stopped the Jordan twice now.
That's awesome.
Cross, right?
It must be a stream.
I guess, yeah, right?
It must be easy.
Yeah.
So when they got to the other side, Elijah said to Elisha, tell me what I can do for you before I'm taken away. So see, he knows.
Okay.
And Elisha replied, please let me inherit a double share of your spirit and become your successor.
Well, that's nice, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, you're so awful.
Right.
Not awful.
No, you're awesome.
So awesome. I want to be just like you.
Right. Twice as much, even.
Mm-hmm. You have asked a difficult thing, Elijah replied. If you see me when I'm taken from you, then you will get your request. But if not, then you won't.
Okay.
Then I will never take my eyes off you, I guess.
Peel my eyes and look.
Give me some super glue.
Right.
As they were walking along and talking, suddenly a chariot of fire appeared. What the fuck? Drawn by horses of fire.
What the fuck?
It drove between the two men, separating them, and Elijah was carried by a whirlwind into heaven.
Oh my God.
This is so stupid. Elisha saw it and cried out, my father, I see the chariots and charioteers of Israel. And as they disappeared from sight, Elisha tore his clothes in distress. I guess he did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not fair.
No.
Fucking fiery horses.
Right? What the fuck is that
That's
shit?
not fair. I didn't even have a chance.
Right.
The hell, rigged game.
But, I gotta say, Elijah has had one of the best deaths so far.
Yeah, he has.
In the Bible. Like, that was pretty,
picked up.
Fancy.
There are some who say that since he didn't actually die and was carried by a whirlwind into heaven, that he is still alive today and that he is the only living person in heaven.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's a fable, story,
yeah.
thing.
Okay.
Legend?
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right.
So Elisha picked up Elijah's cloak, which had fallen when he was taken up. Then Elisha returned to the bank of the Jordan River. He struck the water with Elijah's cloak and cried out, where is the Lord, the God of Elijah? Then the river divided and Elisha went across.
Well, see there, he's got the power.
I got the power.
Right, yeah.
Did you ever dance to that song?
Got the power of Grayskull.
I have the power. But did you ever dance to that song?
I don't think so, no.
They played it at all the high school dances that I went to.
I think that was before I was in high school. You're slightly older than I am. So
I graduated in 93. When did you graduate?
96.
Oh my God, you're so young. When the group of prophets from Jericho saw from a distance what happened, they exclaimed, Elijah's spirit rests within Elisha. Wah!
Okay.
And they went to meet him and bowed to the ground before him. You're cool, man.
Yeah.
They were like, Jeezy Pete's. Sir, they said, just say the word, and 50 of our strongest men will search the wilderness for your master. Perhaps the Spirit of the Lord has left him on some mountain or in some valley. Right?
What the fuck?
No. Elisha said,
no, dude's dead.
Do not send them. But they kept urging him until they shamed him into agreeing, and he finally said, all right, whatever, fuck, man, send them.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's exactly what he said.
Exactly how he said it, too.
For those new to the podcast, I tend to add my own F-bombs.
I gave up trying to edit Wife Out.
Because it's better the way I'm saying it. It is.
I mean, I'm not arguing. I think a lot of people agree. So yeah.
There you have it. So 50 men searched for 3 days, but did not find Elijah.
Okay. I wasn't expecting them to.
No, right?
Yeah.
Elisha was still at Jericho when they returned. Didn't I tell you not to go, stupids? He asked. One day, the leaders of the town of Jericho visited Elisha. We have a problem, my lord. Red alert, they told him.
Red alert, they said, huh?
They said red alert.
Okay, all right.
This town is located in pleasant surroundings, as you can see, but, hey, so the water is bad and the land is unproductive.
Oh, man, that's not good.
Elisha said, bring me a new bowl with salt in it.
I'll fix this shit.
He's feeling his oats.
Yeah, he is.
So they brought it to him. Then he went out to the spring that supplied the town with water and threw the salt into it, and he said, this is what the Lord says. I have purified this water.
With salt, huh?
It will no longer cause death or infertility.
Oh my gosh, good. That's awesome.
You can have all the babies now.
Wow.
Fuckity fuck.
It's amazing.
And the water has remained pure.
To this day?
Ever since. Just as Elisha said.
Got it.
Should have been to this day.
Right.
Elisha left Jericho and went up to Bethel. As he was walking along the road, a group of boys from the town began mocking and making fun of him.
That's not good.
Rude. Go away, Baldy, they chanted.
Oh no, I know this story.
Go away, Baldy.
I know this story.
What is this story?
He's gonna they're gonna get mauled by bears.
Are you serious?
I think so.
I don't know this story.
Oh,
why do you know this story?
Because it's popular.
I like popular things.
Just read it. It's good shit. Well, wait. Yeah, we don't have much to go.
Elisha turned around and looked at them, and he cursed them in the name of the Lord. Then 2 bears came out of the woods and mauled 42 of them. What the fuck? How did you know that?
Right?
How did you know that?
Because it pops up on social media.
Twitters and whatnot?
Twitters, yeah, and whatnot.
From there, Elisha went to Mount Carmel and finally returned to Samaria. The end. I'm so upset.
That motherfucker cursed 42 kids to die by bear.
For calling them bald.
For calling them bald, to die by bear.
I've called you worse. Well, for that matter, you've called me worse.
Right,
so,
right.
I mean,
yeah,
geez.
That's not a good start. That seems asshole-ish to me. They're kids. They're fucking kids.
That is vindictive and shitty.
Now, I'm not okay with them calling you bald. But,
but there was a better way to address that than killing them.
Right.
Like, that is not what you do with, mean kids.
Right. And yeah. And they are just pointing out something that is probably true. I'm just saying, they don't just call someone baldy because, they're not bald.
They could have said, you are a hairy motherfucker.
right. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, that they wouldn't have just come up with that on their own. So, he's obviously got a complex about it, right?
Oh, he doesn't like being bald.
And so he cursed 42 kids. Was literally all of them calling him baldy or whatever, bald and whatever?
I don't know.
42 fucking kids and he just stood there and watched them get mauled by a bear. Two bears.
He just carried on, was like, what you gonna do?
Right? It's fucking crazy.
That's bad. That is not what you do.
No.
You don't kill kids who are calling you names.
Yes.
You could call them little assholes and scream, get off my lawn!
Right.
And shit like that.
But don't wish death upon them.
And don't put death upon them.
And, if you're the guy that walks out with a shotgun, definitely don't shoot them.
Right?
That's not how that goes.
Maybe be like, hey, I know your mom. She's looking for you,
right?
You little cunt.
Yeah, but they're
kids,
man. They're fucking kids.
And you know what? Kids suck. And I say this as the mother of 2 of them.
Right.
Kids suck. They're going to be rude sometimes.
But you don't kill them for sucking.
You just don't kill them for sucking.
Right.
Now, granted, my kids never called people names like that. So
right,
that means I am an awesome parent.
Sure.
Or that my kids were awesome despite my
right.
raising of them.
Right.
So I don't know which way you want to go. But there's a lot of kids in the world, and there's a lot of cussing kids in the world.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of mean kids that make fun of you in the world.
Right.
And you just don't kill them.
Correct.
That's that.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and call this an episode.
I guess we're gonna call it done.
Yeah.
I'm very dissatisfied. Bad Elijah.
Bad Elijah.
Okay.
All right. So that was 2 Kings chapter 2.
It was indeed, sir.
And tomorrow we'll be back with
2 Kings chapter 3.
Also, be on the lookout. We just put up a new Patreon episode, as you're receiving this episode. So if you want to check it out, we've got a episode out now called it's about how we're lowbrow and how people think of us as a podcast. So definitely, it takes $2 a month, get you in there. You can listen to the episodes that we do special for our patrons. And go and check that out. So it's patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you guys.
Bye. Husband.
Wife.
What are we doing today?
We're finally doing a Patreon episode.
Fuck yeah, we are.
Yeah, and this one's called The Case for Coarse Discourse.
Ooh, what's it about?
Well, we've had some people say some things about our podcast, and we just want to address some of those things, that's all.
Just wanted to talk it over and...
Maybe that we're not mature. Maybe we say things a little too vulgar. I don't know.
Or we're not serious enough.
Yeah. Things like that.
Or we're too lowbrow to be taken seriously.
Right.
Or we don't really know what we're talking about, which is funny because we don't.
Generally, but we endeavor to find out.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, that's essentially what we're talking about today. Just kind of addressing some complaints we've run into over the last year or so of our podcast. So,
but not really arguing against the complaints so much as discussing them and taking the complaints seriously.
Sure. And to be fair, these are not from fans.
Right.
The complaints are not from you guys.
No.
They are from people who don't even give our podcast the time of day. So
no, they've never even listened to it. But it's still something that we want to make sure that we are trying to understand what we might come up against and what has been said and how we feel about that.
Yeah, definitely. So we've got a little bit of a few things to go over here, and we're going to get right into that, I think. So we'll see you on the other side of this break.
Yep. Oh no, what happened?
Well, this is a special Patreon episode, actually. Which means that they need to go to Patreon and subscribe as a patron in order to listen to it.
Okay, well, I guess that we are going to go do that now.
Yeah, just head over to patreon.com/sacrilegious discourse, become a member for as low as $2 a month, and you'll have access to all these special things and goodies too. So, go do that.
So this was just a teaser.
Yeah, teaser.
Okay, just
Bye.
checking.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Do you remember what happened yesterday?
As I recall, Elijah got taken somewhere in a whirlwind with fiery chariots, and then Elisha took over, and he got mad at some kids for calling him Baldy.
Yeah.
And he cursed them, and then bears ate them, mauled them.
That pretty much sums it up. Yeah, that's exactly what happened yesterday.
Yeah. Yep. Crazy shit.
Yeah.
It was actually a really action-packed, crazy fucking chapter there.
It really was. I didn't expect all the things that happened, and I didn't expect that you had actually heard that story before.
I didn't know it was coming. It kind of came out of nowhere, and it was like, just 1, 2, 3, go. There it is at the end.
Right?
Like,
it was
like,
the final paragraph.
He cursed them, then they died, got mauled by bears. 42 of them. There you go.
Yep. Like the last, I don't know, 5 sentences of the chapter.
Right?
That whole story.
Yeah. I'm like, that's fucking nuts.
Really is.
All right. Well, that was 2 Kings chapter 2.
Yep.
And today we're getting into
2 Kings chapter 3.
All right, let's do this.
Okie doke. Okay, 2 Kings chapter 3.
Okay.
Ahab's son. Call me Ishmael. It'll never not be old.
I'm like, I hear the name every time, and I'm like, oh my God, here it goes again.
Here it goes, yep. Well, I can't help it.
You can't help it?
I can't help it.
Like, you can't, it
literally
has to come out?
If I see the name Ishmael, obviously, and if I see the name Ahab, obviously.
Obviously. Okay.
I can't help it. It's just the way it is.
I got it.
Those names are ingrained in us at a very young age. Moby Dick. That's how it is.
Right.
Call me Ishmael. The first line.
That should be a t-shirt. Moby Dick. That's how it is.
Moby Dick. That's how it is. I mean, I don't even love that book, okay?
Right.
But I'm just saying, you hear those names, you know the first line of that book, you know the names of the characters, and the ship is called the Pequod, you know?
I hear you.
There's things you know.
I hear you.
Okay.
You said it.
Okay.
Those things are said.
So Ahab's son, Joram,
okay.
began to rule over Israel in the 18th year of King Jehoshaphat's reign in Judah.
Okay.
Remember, they're telling us the overlapping.
And this is right after his other son, Uzziah, or whatever the fuck his name was, died. Because he fell through the lattice. Remember?
Oh, yeah. He reigned in Samaria 12 years.
Okay.
He did what was evil in the Lord's sight.
Of course he did.
But there's a caveat.
Okay.
But not to the same extent as his father and mother. He's not the worst.
He's not the worst. He's bad.
He's the second worst.
He's not the worst.
He at least tore down the sacred pillar of Baal that his father had set up.
Okay.
Cool. Nevertheless, he continued in the sins that Jeroboam, son of Nebat, had committed and led the people of Israel to commit.
That poor Jeroboam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whatever. King Mesha. Oh, this is a new little section.
Oh, okay.
King Mesha of Moab was a sheep breeder.
Okay.
Could you imagine being a king and breeding sheep?
I mean, I bet he had people do it for him.
I wonder if kings and queens have hobbies like scrapbooking or
chopping people's heads off,
card making, like paper crafts,
breaking people's legs,
collecting records,
going to war.
Stop!
What?
I'm trying to be for real.
I was too.
Like, this guy is a sheep breeder.
Yeah.
And a king.
I hear you.
Okay, so his name is Mesha of Moab.
Mesha of Moab.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He used to pay the king of Israel an annual tribe of 100,000 lambs and the wool of 100,000 rams.
Gotcha. He's the original Eminem.
He used to. He is.
Mesha of Moab.
You were waiting for me to
I was, because it occurred to me right after you started speaking again.
M of M. M of M.
M.
But did you hear he used to pay Israel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That indicates, but he
does not anymore. Right.
But after Ahab's death, the king of Moab rebelled against the king of Israel.
Oh, man.
Fair enough.
I mean, if the first son is dumb enough to fall through lattice work, the second one can't be much better, right?
Like, what you gonna do?
Right. This is the consolation prize king.
Yeah.
So
you think you're a tough guy, huh?
Right.
So King Joram promptly ketchup and mustered the army of Israel and marched from Samaria.
Okay.
He ketchuped and mustered.
He mustered the army, yeah.
Yeah. On the way, he sent this message to King Jehoshaphat of Judah.
Okay.
Excuse me, the king of Moab has rebelled against me. Will you join me in battle against him?
Who did he send that to?
Jehoshaphat.
Jehoshaphat, okay.
And Jehoshaphat replied, why, of course, you and I are as one. My troops are your troops, and my horses are your horses.
Where do you think the saying, jumping Jehoshaphat? Mm-hmm. Do you think that has to do anything with this king?
I would think so.
I mean, I'm just curious. Like,
maybe he jumps.
I'm going to be listening for it,
Right? Then Jehoshaphat asked, what route will we take? We will take the attack from the wilderness of Edom. Joram replied. The king of Edom and his troops joined them, and all 3 armies traveled along a roundabout route through the wilderness for 7 days.
Okay.
7
roundabout
days.
route.
Yeah. You spin me right round, baby, right roundabout. But there was no water for the men or their animals.
Oh, that's sad.
What should we do?
Yeah.
The king of Israel cried out. The Lord has brought the 3 of us here to let the king of Moab defeat us.
Right.
Oh, that was the wrong accent. That was not King Jehoshaphat that said it. That was one of the other kings. My bad. Okay?
Yeah.
Because now King Jehoshaphat of Judah asked, is there no prophet of the Lord with us? If there is, we can ask the Lord what to do through him. One of King Joram's officers replied, so this is just some guy, Elijah son of Japhat is here. He used to be Elijah's personal assistant.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Jehoshaphat said, yeah! The Lord speaks through him!
Okay.
He was jumping
yeah.
Jumping Jehoshaphat. So the king of Israel, King Jehoshaphat of Judah, and the king of Edom went to consult with Elijah.
Okay. Wait. Oh, Elisha.
Shah.
Okay.
Why are you coming to me? Elisha asked the king of Israel. Go to the pagan prophets of your father and mother. Like, why are you asking me? Like, I don't have your answers.
These aren't your gods. These aren't the gods you seek.
These are not the gods you seek.
Right.
That's right. But King Joram of Israel said, no, for it was the Lord who called us 3 kings here, only to be defeated by the king of Moab.
Okay.
Elijah replied, as surely as the Lord Almighty lives, whom I serve, I wouldn't even bother with you except for my respect for King Jehoshaphat of Judah. Now, I guess bring me someone who can play a harp.
Right.
While the harp was being played, the power of the Lord came upon Elisha, and he said, now, hold on, before I tell you what the Lord said. If you were, like, about to prophecy for a king who doesn't even believe in your God and who praises other gods, wouldn't you ask for more than a harp?
Maybe?
I would be like, okay, I'm going to need a few things. I'm going to need a really well done steak, dinner, and I would like some chocolate covered strawberries for dessert.
But God probably wouldn't like it if you used him to acquire things that are not due you.
I need a lot of credits on my Audible account so that I can get all the audiobooks that I want to listen to.
Yeah.
What else would I need?
I don't know.
Some boots that would fit over my calves.
Would they be made for walking?
They would be made for walking, as a matter of fact.
Is that just what they're going to do?
That is just what they're going to do.
Okay.
Also, I want to fly to Europe. Okay?
Got it, yeah.
So, those are the things I will need, please.
Got it, okay. Yeah.
While the harp was being played, the power of the Lord came upon Elisha, and he said, this is what the Lord says.
This is probably why we always, like, the harp playing here, like, it's why it's associated with godly, you know? Because he's helping channel God with that harp, right?
Right?
Sure, yeah.
This dry valley will be filled with pools of agua.
Oh, man.
Water.
That's awesome.
You will see neither wind nor rain. I've seen fire and I've seen rain, says the Lord. But this valley will be filled with water. Okay. Don't know where it's fucking coming from if you're not going to let it rain.
It's apparently going to come up from the springs or something.
I guess that happens. Water comes up from the ground.
I mean, if there was a lot of rain upstream somewhere, I guess that could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will have plenty for yourselves and your cattle and other animals. But this is only a simple thing for the Lord, for he will make you victorious over the army of Moab. Why?
Why? Yeah, why?
Why are you supporting them?
I don't get that. Like, he's supported much. He's fought against people that were more godly than these people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but now he's support. Like, I don't understand this.
He's so willy-nilly.
Right?
You will conquer the best of their towns, even the fortified ones. You will cut down all their good trees, stop up all their springs, and ruin all their good land with stones.
Oh.
That's just rude.
It really is.
Don't ruin the good land with stones.
We had a house one time. Somebody ruined our good yard with stones.
Really?
Yeah, the yellow house, remember?
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing but fucking stones.
I thought you meant like somebody while we lived there came and dropped stones. No, when we moved in, the whole back was covered with stones.
Yeah.
And we thought that we would be able to like
get it out.
But
no, it just was like ever present.
Stones all the way down.
Right, yeah. I basically mowed rocks.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah, don't fuck around with rocks on people's yards. The next day, at about the time when the morning sacrifice was offered, water suddenly appeared.
Water suddenly... No, that's not what I was... Never mind.
Don't
Suddenly
go chasing waterfalls.
Every time Elijah's near.
No.
No? Okay.
No. I liked mine better.
Okay, sorry.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. It was flowing from the direction of Edom, and soon there was water everywhere.
Awesome.
See? It didn't come from nowhere. It came from Edom.
Got it. Okay.
Meanwhile, when the people of Moab heard about the 3 armies marching against them, they mobilized every man who was old enough to strap on a sword. You said strap on. And they stationed themselves along their border.
Okay. Quote unquote sword.
I made myself laugh. Oh, strap on is never not funny. Okay,
right.
Sorry. I don't mean to kink shame. Whatever you guys like. Consent. Okay. Whew. But when they got up the next morning, the sun was shining across the water, making it appear red to the Moabites.
Oh, some more red water.
Like blood.
Right.
It's blood!
Holy shit.
The Moabites exclaimed.
Yeah.
The 3 armies must have attacked and killed each other. Woohoo! Yeah! Let's go, men of Moab, and collect the plunder. They done fucked up. You should never assume that red water is blood.
I mean, yeah.
And you should never assume
this
that...
This is obviously God doing this, right? To give them an easy victory?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. You should also never assume that red water, whether it's blood or not, came from armies that defeated each other.
Right.
Leaving you, like, the uncontested winner.
Yeah, it could have been one massive fucking army that came up behind all of those armies and defeated them, and then they're going to defeat you. You just don't know.
You don't know
you
what
send
it
a
is.
scout.
It could have been a fucking cow died in the stream and is bleeding downstream.
But you send a fucking scout, right? Like, I mean, come on.
But no, they all went. When the Moabites arrived at the Israelite camp, the army of Israel rushed out and attacked them until they turned their man. The army of Israel chased them into the land of Moab, destroying everything as they went.
Okay.
Remember how they killed all the Moabites, but
they're still,
Yeah. They destroyed the towns, covered their good land with stones.
Oh, assholes.
Of course. Stopped up all the springs. That's just rude.
I thought Moab was protected by God.
I don't remember.
It struck me that it was, like, that's why they didn't attack it back when Moses and all of them were camped right outside of it, so.
Oh, you know what? I think you're right, but I think it was just that one time. Oh. It was not like a forever protection. It was just like a one-off.
Got it.
Cut down all the good trees. Like Becky with the good hair.
Yeah.
This is Moab.
I'm assuming they're talking
trees.
about like fruit trees and stuff.
Probably.
So, because remember how they're not supposed to, but that meant doesn't. So like there was a rule back in I think it was Leviticus where they're not supposed to cut down fruit trees during war because
because they'll still bear fruit.
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I wonder if that's a contradiction.
Probably.
I mean, I don't know what good tree means here, but I mean to me, and you're living in a place where food is not abundantly available to everybody.
Right.
Fruit trees would be good trees, right?
I would think so.
I mean, I would classify them that way.
I mean, I would, but I half the time don't know what the fuck they mean.
Right.
So.
No, I agree. But there definitely was a rule not to cut down fruit trees.
There was. You're right. Finally, only Kir-Hareseth.
Yeah, that
and
guy.
it's a city. And
that city.
Its stone walls were left.
Okay.
But men with slings surrounded and attacked it. Slings. Remember back in the day when they used to use slings?
Nope.
Remember when they didn't use guns because all they had was fucking slings?
I don't see how... Okay, you're shooting over a wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can see how straight on a sling would be handy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, if you're aiming up, the rocks are going to be coming down in an arch, and it's not going to be as effective if you shot them straight on.
Right.
So, like, to me, and I think that they've said they have arrows back then.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you be using arrows? Because they're going to go up and then they still pierce when they come down.
I have no idea.
Sling seems pretty ineffective to me.
It seems pretty...
Catapults, now that would work, because, catapults shoot boulders and shit, but...
Would you want to be in the catapult and get catapulted over
no.
and then just arrive with your sword in hand and be all murdery?
No.
When the king of Moab saw that he was losing the battle, he led 700 of his swordsmen in a desperate attempt to break through the enemy lines near the king of Edom, but they failed. Then the king of Moab took his oldest son, who would have been the next king, and sacrificed him as a burnt offering on the wall.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
This is Moab, right?
Yes.
Oh wow.
What? I'm what?
I don't have an answer here.
He was losing, so he was like, "Sorry, son.
Yeah,
I gotta.
You gotta die.
Sacrifice you."
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just a thing we do.
I guess.
So there was great anger against Israel. I'm stuttering. I'm just so aghast.
Right.
Okay. So there was great anger against Israel, and the Israelites withdrew and returned to their own land. The end.
Wait. What?
What? I'm flabbergasted.
The Israelites were fighting the Moabites, right? Is that am I correct in that?
Yes.
So the guy sacrificed his son and they just retreat away? Because there's anger at the Israelites.
Yeah.
I'm thoroughly confused.
I'm like, you're the one that killed your kid. Why are you mad at me?
Right. I don't.
Sorry, I was winning the war.
But what does it matter if they're mad or not? They were winning.
Right.
So what is going I don't understand what's going on here.
I don't understand either. That
obviously the Moabite guy was trying to invoke some god to help him, right?
Right.
And then apparently it worked.
I don't know.
That's what it seems like. I think this is one thing we need to write down and look up on our Q&A, because
I agree.
I don't understand what just happened there.
I don't either. It doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Yeah, and I feel like we've missed something.
We often do.
And I'll admit I was a little off today. I don't know. I felt a little off today.
Well, I was yawning a lot. I was trying really hard not to yawn, and it just keeps being yawnish. You know?
Yeah.
I can't help it. It's
late. It's been
I'm tired.
A long week,
It's only Wednesday. Has it been a long week?
It has.
No, it's just the weekend was long, and we're old. We don't recover.
Right.
We don't bounce back.
Yeah.
We are Bumbles, and Bumbles bounce, but we don't bounce anymore.
Right.
We lost our bounce. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna have to look shit up because we missed something.
We clearly missed something. I don't understand.
Or we didn't, and the Bible's just really confusing.
I'm gonna put my money on that one if we're being honest.
Right. Okay. Well, at least we have something for the Q&A.
Well, we had something already. It was the
we got something else for the Q&A.
Beelzebub and Ballsabub.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, that was 2 Kings chapter 3.
Yep.
And tomorrow we'll be back with
2 Kings chapter 4.
We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Okay, bye. Husband.
Wife.
Do you remember what happened yesterday?
I mostly just remember being very confused because the one dude sacrificed his son. And
out of the blue.
To get the other guys to go away.
He's like, oh no, we're losing. Quick, kill my son.
And then they went away.
Yeah.
And I was kind of lost.
Yeah. It was very confusing.
I'm really either hoping for some clarification in this chapter or looking forward to the Q&A on Saturday. Right. Because I don't know what the fuck happened.
I don't either. There was anger against Israel because how dare they win their war?
But they didn't. They went away.
Right.
So what happened?
They were winning, and then the Moab guy, king, sacrificed his son.
Yeah, I know.
And so then everybody was like, "Shame on you, Israel!" And so Israel was like, "Okay," and just left.
Right. Yeah. I was like, what's going on here?
It didn't make any fucking sense.
It didn't make any fucking sense.
Well, let's see if we can get something to make sense today.
Sounds good. All right, so that was 2 Kings chapter 3.
Indeed it was.
And today we're going to be getting into
2 Kings chapter 4.
Let's go do this.
Okie dokie. Okay, 2 Kings chapter 4.
Okay.
One day,
the
widow of a member of the group of prophets came to Elisha and cried out, "My husband who served you is dead, and you know how he feared the Lord. But now a creditor has come, threatening to take my 2 sons as slaves."
Those damn creditors always wanting my sons as slaves.
Right?
The fuck?
What can I do to help you? Elisha asked.
Ban slavery?
Tell me, what do you have in the house? Nothing at all, except a flask of olive oil. Oh, shit. Sorry, I did it wrong. Okay. He says, "Tell me, what do you have in the house?" And then she says, "Nothing at all except a flask of olive oil."
Oh, is this going to be one of those, like, endless flasks of olive oil or something?
Probably. And Elijah said, "Borrow as many empty jars as you can from your friends and neighbors. Then go into your house with your sons and shut the door behind you. Pour olive oil from your flask into the jars, setting each one aside when it is filled." So she did as she was told.
Okay.
Her sons kept bringing jars to her, and she filled one after another.
Wow.
Soon every container was full to the brim.
Fucking amazing.
Wow, you called that one.
Right?
"Bring me another jar," she said to one of her sons.
Because it just never runs out.
"There ain't no more," he told her.
Okay.
And then the olive oil stopped flowing.
Oh.
When she told the man of God what had happened, he said to her, "Now sell the fucking olive oil and pay off your fucking debts, and you and your fucking sons can live on what is fucking left over."
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the end of that little
Why
section.
is it? What's up? Like lately, there's these like endless. I just have this one little thing, and then they're like, "We'll make it into lots of little things."
It's the endless wine that
I know.
we're prepping for Jesus, didn't you know?
Right, but it's so ridiculous.
No, I know.
Like, no, if you have fucking nothing, you have fucking nothing.
Yeah.
And God is not like, this isn't fucking Avengers and fucking what's his face? Doctor Strange is not refilling Thor's beer glass. It's not happening.
His
Stein, yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. It's ridiculous and silly, but it's supposed to be showing that God is allowing Elisha to perform miracles.
And besides, how many other people are fucking... There's slaves right now. Mm-hmm. God let all these other people be slaves.
Right.
What's special about these people? I guess they served Elisha.
Well, she went to him.
Yeah, no, I know.
And she was like, "Knock, knock, knock. Hello, please help me."
So you have to ask...
You got to go find a prophet.
A human prophet.
Yeah.
Who you have a good relationship with to excuse you from being slaves.
Yeah. Instead of God just coming down and being like, "Let's not do slavery."
Right, like at all.
Yeah,
like,
let's just not.
It's not a good thing, so.
It doesn't require networking. Let's just not do slavery.
Right, slavery, bad.
Right.
You know what? Let's just amend the fucking tablets, huh?
Yeah.
Like, I'm God, I can do that.
Yeah, God could change his own rules.
Yeah, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. He's God.
Yeah.
I mean, hypothetically.
Right.
Just saying.
Well, okay, so that was that section, and we're moving on to another little section now.
Okay. Yeah.
One day, Elisha went to the town of Shunem. A wealthy woman lived there, and she urged him to come to her home for a meal.
Okay.
After that, whenever he passed that way, he would stop there for something to eat. She said to her husband, "I'm sure this man who stops in from time to time is a holy man of God."
You're sure, huh?
I'm sure of it.
He didn't fucking say that he is?
He comes here like every other week and sits at my table and doesn't say a goddamn word. I'm just going to guess I don't know if he is or not.
It's the leather belt and the hair.
Yeah, he is a hairy motherfucker.
That was Elijah, so. But maybe it's like a thing with prophets, you know? Well, maybe they're all hairy with leather belts.
I bet he is hairy with a leather belt.
You think?
Yeah. "Let's build a small room for him on the roof." I hope they have battle mist up there.
You know.
"And furnish it with a bed, a table, a chair, and a lamp."
Okay.
"Then he will have a place to stay whenever he comes by."
That's so nice of them, you know?
You know what? I always build an extra room for the guy who stops by to have dinner at my house and doesn't tell me what his occupation is.
Right. Yeah, that happens all the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
One day, Elisha returned to Shunem, and he went up to this upper room to rest. He said to his servant Gehazi, "Tell the woman from Shunem I want to speak to her."
Oh, he's going to speak now. Mm-hmm. He hasn't told her anything about him, but Now he's going to speak to her.
Get her ass up here.
He just needed a room first.
Yeah.
Okay.
When she appeared, Elijah said to Gehazi, tell her, we appreciate the kind concern you have shown us. What can we do for you? Can we put in a good word for you to the king or to the commander of the army? No, she replied. My family takes good care of me. Later, Elisha asked Gehazi, what can we do for her?
Yeah, what can you do for her?
Gehazi replied, she doesn't have a son and her husband is an old man.
Oh.
Call her back again, Elijah told him. When the woman returned, Elijah said to her as she stood in the doorway, next year at this time, you will be holding a son in your arms.
Maybe she doesn't want... Did you ask her?
No, right?
Does she want one?
Maybe she doesn't want kids, which is fine.
Yeah.
You're allowed to not want kids in this world.
Right.
Jesus.
Yeah.
My kids don't want kids.
But they just assumed. They're like, oh, she doesn't have a son. She needs one.
Obviously. She's a walking incubator.
Right.
That's what she's made for.
Yeah.
She doesn't get a choice in the fucking matter.
Right?
No, my lord, she cried. Oh, man of God, don't deceive me and get my hopes up like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because she really is just a walking incubator.
Okay.
I'm nothing but a vagina with hands. But
and now I've got that image in my head.
But sure enough, the woman soon became pregnant. And at that time the following year, she had a son, just as Elijah had said.
That's just so nice.
I'm so glad it was a boy.
Was it a boy? It was a boy?
It literally said she had a son.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm
tired.
And you're so busy being a smartass.
Yeah, I was busy being a smartass for sure.
Mm-hmm. One day, when her child was older, he went out to help his father, who was working with the harvesters.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, he cried out, my head hurts! My head hurts! His father said to one of the servants, carry him home to his mother. So the servant took him home, and his mother laid him on her lap. But around noontime, he died.
What the fuck?
That is a fucking migraine. Jesus, that escalated quickly.
What the hell?
I did not know that was coming. Sorry, guys. I have a headache. Oh, shit, I'm dead.
That's kind of shitty. You give this woman
I gave you a son.
And then you kill him.
I didn't say you would keep him.
Yeah, right, yeah.
She carried him up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, then shut the door and left him there. She sent a message to her husband. Send one of the servants and a donkey so that I can hurry to the man of God and come right back.
Are they going to resurrect this fucking kid?
I bet they resurrect this fucking kid. You think
so?
I bet they do.
I bet come they do. On now.
I bet they do.
If they resurrect this motherfucker, this is getting a little ridiculous.
Should we take bets?
No.
You don't want to take that bet?
No.
Why go today? He asked. It is neither a new moon festival nor a Sabbath. I have an idea why you go today.
I mean,
there's a dead body in your house. You don't let a dead body just lie about until the next full moon.
I think why I'm guessing they're resurrecting this kid because they just aren't reacting like the way they should.
No.
They're not like, tearing their clothes and, right. Whatever. This is their only son, right?
Yeah.
No, it's like, no, go get the holy man.
He'll fix it.
He'll fix it, yeah.
It's fine.
Right.
It's fine. Kids die all the time.
He's only kind of dead.
Right.
Not all the way.
Nearly headless Nick. Nearly. But she said, it will be all right. See, they're taken for granted.
I know.
I kind of hope he doesn't run.
I mean, whatever.
So she saddled up the donkey and said to the servant, hurry, don't slow down unless I tell you to.
Yeah.
As she approached the man of God at Mount Carmel, Elisha saw her in the distance. He said to Gehazi, look, the woman from Shunem is coming. Yeah. Run out to meet her and ask her, is everything all right with you, your husband, and your child? Yes, the woman told Gehazi. No. Everything is fine.
Correct.
Right?
My fucking son is dead.
What the hell? Why did she tell the servant it's all good? I don't know.
This is stupid.
I don't understand the story. But when she came to the man of God at the mountain, she fell to the ground before him and caught hold of his feet. Gehazi began to push her away, but the man of God said, leave her alone. She's obviously deeply fucking trouble, but the Lord has not told me what it is.
Okay.
Why does the Lord...
What does the Lord give a shit about this kid?
This one kid.
Why?
I don't understand this story at all.
Right.
Then she said, did I ask you for a son, my lord? And didn't I say, don't deceive me and get my hopes up? I mean,
you had a son.
Yeah. Did you mean that would live until old age?
Right,
That wasn't part of the deal.
Right.
Then Elijah said to Gehazi, "Get ready to travel. Take my staff and go. Don't talk to anyone along the way. Go quickly and lay the staff on the child's face."
What the fuck?
But the boy's mother said, "As surely as the Lord lives and you yourself live, I won't go home unless you go with me."
Okay.
I mean, she's okay.
I mean, what?
You believe in magic, but only kind of magic.
Right.
Only if he comes with you magic.
I guess.
He's like, "My stick is magic. Can't you just take my stick?"
Right.
It's fine. It'll
what
be
the
fine.
fuck? I mean, was his stick literally just going to resurrect the kid?
I guess. He was supposed to
That's one hell of a stick.
He was supposed to put the stick on the kid's face.
I don't see sticks like that laying around these days.
No. So Elisha returned with her. Gehazi hurried on ahead and laid the staff on the child's face.
Okay.
See?
Yeah.
But nothing happened.
Of course, yeah. They needed Elisha there, you know?
It's a good thing he went with her.
He's probably going to like hover over him like Elijah did with that other kid, you know? Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Elijah that did that?
I forget.
Somebody who yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Elijah.
I think so.
Yeah, he did the last resurrection.
Right. Yeah. These Elijah people. They're
right?
always bringing people back from the dead.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm yawning. It's late at night.
It is.
There was no sign of life.
None.
He returned to meet Elisha and told him, "My dude, the child is fucking dead." When Elijah arrived, the child was indeed fucking dead.
Yeah.
Lying there on the prophet's bed. He went in alone and shut the door behind him and prayed to the Lord. I mean, we can assume that's what he did because we weren't there after he shut the door.
Right, yeah.
He may have done something else for all we know.
Right, yeah.
I mean, why would you shut the door?
I mean,
weird.
He's got to talk to the Lord, you know?
You can't have company?
I mean,
I bet he desecrated that body. That's nasty.
Jesus Christ. That's just horrible.
Then he lay down on the child's body.
He's doing exactly what Elijah did.
Placing his mouth on the child's mouth.
What the fuck?
His eyes on the child's eyes. And his hands on the child's hands. his hands. Oh, as he stretched out on him. This just doesn't sound right. The child's body began to grow warm again.
Okay.
If you were dead, right, and then you came back to life, and there is some man just laying on you, when you get the fuck off me.
Yeah.
Elijah got up, walked back and forth across the room once, and then stretched himself out again on the child.
Okay.
What? This doesn't feel right.
I mean, apparently this is the way you resurrect people.
This time
according to the Bible, anyway.
This time the boy sneezed 7 times and opened his eyes.
Wow.
Huh. Then Elisha summoned Gehazi. "Call the child's mother," he said. And when she came in, Elijah said, "Here, take your fucking son." She fell at his feet
You're adding a lot of
him.
ad-lib here.
I'm a little annoyed, quite frankly.
Okay.
Because she just gets her child to come back to life, huh?
Right. It's pretty...
It's hateful. Because I have a friend whose child died. And it's just fucking hateful is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, if this is a thing that could happen, why isn't it happening?
Right.
So, yeah, I'm a little fucking peeved.
And they make it seem like it's just like, you know, easy peasy, right?
What?
Like, some kid died, I'm just going to go resurrect him.
I mean, she thought it was she was just like, what? I'm just going to go talk to the holy man. It'll be fine.
They don't even really have to do anything special towards God. Like, Elijah had to go in there and, like, pray or something.
This guy just was like,
there's nothing else special about it. They're just like, let's resurrect him.
Doopy-doo.
Lay a stick on his face. I'll spread out, put my mouth on his mouth. We're good.
Yeah, that's gross. She fell at his feet and bowed before him, overwhelmed with gratitude. Then she took her son in her arms and carried him downstairs.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So that was that section. Now we've got another section.
Okay.
Yep.
So now we've had another resurrection. Another fucking resurrection.
Yeah, we've had 2 now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
God just recently started resurrecting people.
Yeah, that wasn't a thing.
I don't know what's going on, but he's like, I'm bored. Let's resurrect a couple kids.
It was just this one little time period. These editors felt like it was very important.
Apparently,
to make some magic big.
Right.
Elisha now returned to Gilgal, and there was a famine in the land.
Oh, no.
They're always having a famine.
Yeah.
One day, as the group of prophets was seated before him, he said to a servant, "Put a large pot on the fire and make some stew for the rest of the group." One of the young men went out into the field to gather herbs and came back with a pocket full of wild gourds. A pocket full
A
of
pocket
shells.
full of wild gourds, huh? Okay.
Rally round the family with a pocket full of shells. What? What is
I feel like you're a little slap happy tonight, you know?
No, but what song is that from?
Pocket full of shells from Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Right.
Well, I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Anytime I hear something about pockets,
that's
what's in your pocket,
your go-to, huh?
It's obviously a pocket full of shells.
Right.
Obviously.
Right.
Only I didn't really understand the song when I first heard it, and so I literally thought he had like seashells in his pocket. What? He's got a pocket full of shells.
Yeah, that's
and snails and
yeah.
I'm a dum-dum, whatever. He shredded them, the pocket full of gourds.
Yes, those. Sorry, it's been a while since
I know,
yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
And put them into the pot without realizing they were poisonous.
Oh, shit.
Oh, this can't go good.
No.
Oh, poison, what you gonna do? Some of the stew was served to the men, but after they had eaten a bite or two, they cried out, "Man of God! There's poison in this fucking stew!" So they would not eat it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if there's poison in it, you don't eat it.
Elijah said, "Eep! My bad. Bring me some flour." Cool.
What, is he gonna, like, purify the poison away?
Then he threw it into the pot and said, "Nah, it's all right. Go ahead and eat." And then they...
What?
And then it did not harm them. Okay.
He didn't even, like, pray over it. He just threw some flour in?
It's magic flour.
Fuck that. It's fucking bullshit.
It touched his stick.
Oh, my God.
He stirred it with his magic stick.
Oh.
Okay, ready?
I'm ready.
One day, a man from Baal Shalashah
Yeah, that place.
brought the man of God a sack of fresh grain and 20 loaves of barley bread
That was nice of him.
made from the first grain of his harvest.
Wow.
Elijah said, "Give it to the people so they can eat."
Yeah.
He's like, "I got God. What? I'm
Right,
good. I'm good." What? His servant exclaimed. "Feed 100 people with only this?" But Elisha repeated, "Give it to the people so they can eat, for this is what the Lord says. Everyone will eat, and there will even be some left over."
Oh, my God.
And
Like, I'm so sick of them fucking the never-ending dish and the fucking resurrecting children.
never-ending food. And when he gave it to the people, there was plenty for all and some left over,
Wow.
just as the Lord had promised. The end.
When did the Lord promise that?
He
Fucking
didn't.
Elisha promised that.
Yeah, he didn't promise
The Lord
that.
didn't say shit about it.
Nope. The Lord was just getting called on a lot. And he's like, miracle here, miracle there, miracle here and everywhere, but not there, or there, or there, or there, or there, just here.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what that song was, but it seemed
It's a
like
great
something.
song, yeah.
It seemed like something God might hum.
I think it's on iTunes. You should look it up.
Oh my God. You're stupid. Okay, that's it.
So yeah, that's it.
Yep, that was
Okay,
it.
well, I'm just, no.
It's too stupid.
Fuck this stupid shit. Okay, but that was 2 Kings chapter 4.
It fucking was. That is true.
Was. And tomorrow we will be back with
2 Kings chapter 5.
We will see you guys then.
Bye. Husband,
Wife.
do you remember what happened yesterday?
I remember that there was a second resurrection, and
Who was resurrected?
some kid that wasn't it Elisha had a room that he was like staying in, and then he gave this lady a kid, kind of, I guess. That died. Yeah, then he died from a fucking massive headache, and then he came and resurrected. He laid over the kid.
He did. He laid on the
put
kid.
his mouth on a kid.
Yeah.
And his eyeballs on the kid. and he resurrected that kid.
It sounded really creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Elisha tried to poison everybody, but then he put some flour in it. It was all good.
Right.
Yeah. So there was that.
I don't think Elisha was trying to poison them.
Whatever.
It was that...
I didn't mean he was trying to poison them. He put the poison in the soup, and then the soup attempted to poison them. And they were like,
poison them.
And then they were like, hey, dude, it's poison. And then he's like, here's flour. And they're like, okay, it's all better now.
Magical flour.
Magical flour.
And there was endless oil and endless everything.
Yeah. Not jars. They ran out of jars.
They did run out of jars.
Yep, for sure.
So many miracles.
Yeah.
You would think Elijah was Jesus or something.
So that was 2 Kings chapter 4.
It was.
And today we're going to be reading
2 Kings chapter 5.
All right, let's go do this.
Okie dokie.
Hey, wife, do you like coffee in the morning?
I sure do, husband. Morning, noon, night. Which reminds me, I need to add that to our grocery list because we're running low.
Wait, before you do that, check out the website ungodlybrew.com where you can purchase a pound of your favorite flavor of coffee.
What if I want more than 1 pound?
Either order a larger amount or better yet, get 10% off by setting up a subscription for every 2 weeks or a month or whatever works for you.
Did you set up something special for our listeners?
You know I did. Exclusive for our listeners, get an additional 10% off subscriptions by entering the code SACRILEGIOUSCOFFEE at checkout.
That's a hellishly good deal.
Ungodly Brew is hellishly good coffee.
Okay, 2 Kings chapter 5.
Okay.
Here we are on a Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, I think there's going to be more miracles coming.
Is that what you think?
Yeah, based on the headline, I think that there's going to be more miracles. The King of Aram, okay?
Yep, the King of Aram.
Had great admiration for Naaman,
That guy.
Naaman, the commander of his army, because through him, the Lord had given Aram great victories.
Well, that was nice of the Lord.
And it was nice of Aram to recognize his captain.
Yeah.
Captain, my captain.
Right.
But though Naaman was a mighty warrior, he suffered from leprosy.
Oh, well, he's supposed to not be...
He's not.
He's supposed to be quarantined,
He's supposed to be away.
Especially if this is Lord's stuff going on.
Yeah.
And Lord's giving...
That's unclean.
That's against the Lord's rules.
That's unclean.
Like, did you read Leviticus even?
Right?
Jesus.
Do you even Bible?
Right?
At this time, Aramean raiders had invaded the land of Israel, and among their captives was a young girl who had been given to Naaman's wife as a maid. You know, the way you just drive around and you just pick up people.
That one's yours.
Yeah. And then you just give them, like, you put a bow on their head and say,
happy birthday.
I bought
here's
a
a
maid.
girl.
I got you a slave.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. One day, the girl said to her mistress, "Sigh, I wish my master would go to see the prophet in Samaria. He would heal him of his leprosy."
Yeah. Or they could, quarantine him like in Leviticus. I'm just saying,
yeah, this is not okay.
There's like leprosy camps and stuff. Mm-hmm. At least there used to be.
Well, there were.
Is it not such a big deal anymore?
I don't know.
Okay.
So Naaman told the king what the young girl from Israel had said. "Go and visit the prophet," the king of Aram told him. "I will send a letter of introduction for you to take to the king of Israel." Okay. So Naaman started out carrying as gifts 750 pounds of silver, 150 pounds of gold, and 10 sets of clothing.
Damn, that's a lot of fucking that's a lot.
"Please take away my leprosy. Lama lama ding dong."
You must have been pretty fucking rich.
10 sets of clothing.
Right?
I don't even have 10 sets of clothing. Just kidding. The letter to the king of Israel said, "With this letter, I present my servant Naaman. I want you to heal him of his leprosy."
Okay.
When the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his clothes in dismay and said, "This man sends me a leper to heal? Am I a god that I can give life and take it away? I can see that he's just trying to pick a fight with me."
What?
This literally just made no sense.
Right? Yeah.
Wow.
Like, what?
You have all these prophets, including Elisha.
He also sent a fucking shit ton of silver and gold. Mm-hmm. I thought that should clear up the, picking a fight thing.
They are always doing that, though. This is not the first time that somebody has come bearing gifts and been accused of warfare.
Right, that's true.
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
But when Elisha, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had torn his clothes in dismay, he sent this message to him. "Why you so mad, bruh?"
Is that what he sent?
He said, "Why you so upset?"
Oh, okay. Yeah.
"Send Naaman to me, stupid head, and he will learn that there is a true prophet here in Israel. Unlike you, fuckface."
Right. Right.
So Naaman went with his horses and chariots and waited at the door of Elisha's house. Want to take bets on whether or not he gets healed of leprosy?
I bet he gets healed of leprosy.
I think he's going to get healed of leprosy.
Pretty sure that's going to happen.
Okay. But Elijah sent a messenger out to him with this message.
Okay.
Go and wash yourself 7 times.
Maybe that's all it takes to cure leprosy.
In the Jordan River. Then your skin will be restored and you will be healed of your leprosy.
This isn't a fucking miracle. This is just bathing.
So wait, when you say wash 7 times, does that mean like you have to walk into the water and then walk out and be like 1?
Yeah, I guess.
Or does it mean you could stay in the water and you could be like, I scrubbed, that was 1, and then
No, I'm
like,
thinking. I think you gotta do it 7 times.
So, but what do you consider a bath, though? Do you walk in and then walk out, or do you have to walk in and scrub?
You gotta dry off first, you know? You gotta dry off.
Oh, you gotta dry off?
Yeah.
Why do you think that? Like, what makes you think that?
Well, because otherwise it would only be 1 really long time.
Really?
Yeah.
Even if you walk out and then walk back in?
Well, you can't. You still got water dripping from you, so yeah. This only counts as 1.
I guess it's like if you go to the pool, even if you get out of the pool, you're still like pooling, right? Mm-hmm. You're doing the pool that day.
Right.
Okay, all right. But Naaman became angry and stalked away. Dude, I thought he would certainly come out and meet me, he said. I expected him to wave his hand over the leprosy and call on the name of the Lord his God and heal me.
Yeah, that would be so much cooler.
Aren't the rivers of Damascus, the Abana, and the Farpar? Farpar.
Yeah.
Better than any of the rivers in Israel? Why shouldn't I wash in them and be healed? Fuck, man.
Yeah, there's so many better rivers than that one. The Jordan, jeez.
Yeah. He's stupid. I mean, has he not heard of all the miracles?
I
guess not.
Yeah.
So Naaman turned and went away in rage.
Didn't even try it, huh?
Didn't even try it.
Well, that sounds stupid to me.
Like, okay, let me ask you this. If you got cancer, say, that would be like today's horrible thing, right?
Yeah.
And you went to doctors and they all tried to cure you, but it wasn't happening. So you're like on your deathbed or whatever. And then somebody's like, okay, I know this sounds hooky, but I've been to this spiritual healer who made my whatever disease go away.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you just be like...
Fuck yeah, you just go along.
Right?
Like this, what do you got to lose?
This sounds stupid, but I don't mind being stupid. I've got a disease.
Right.
I'll try. I don't care.
Exactly.
But his officers tried to reason with him, and said, sir, if the prophet had told you to do something very difficult, wouldn't you have done it? So you should certainly obey him when he says simply go wash and be cured.
Right.
Doy.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, Naaman, can you not be stupid, sir?
Right.
Like, just try. Just try. Why not try?
Yeah.
So Naaman went down to the Jordan River and dipped himself 7 times as the man of God had instructed him. And guess what?
He got cured of leprosy?
His skin became as healthy as the skin of a young child, and he was healed.
I'm so shocked.
Right?
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Right? Yeah.
I never saw it coming.
No, never.
Plot twist. Then Naaman and his entire party went back to find the man of God. They stood before him, and Naaman said, now I know that there is no God in all the world except in Israel. So please accept a gift from your servant.
So God's only in Israel, huh?
Yep. That makes sense.
I guess we're all just screwed.
The rest of the world is fucked.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of like America's God right now. They're like, nope, he's white and he lives here in Texas.
But according to the Bible, he only lives in Israel. So that would, if God were real, that would explain why we're having such a hard time over here.
But how many American Christians have read the Bible?
Like none.
None. But Elisha replied, as surely as the Lord lives, whom I serve, I will not accept any gifts. And though Naaman urged him to take the gift, Elisha refused. What a good guy.
Yeah, just such a nice guy.
But
he also has kids mauled by bears.
Right.
So just to be clear, he's
not
that
a nice
guy.
guy.
Right, yeah.
Then Naaman said, but please allow me to load 2 of my mules with earth from this place, and I will take it back home with me. From now on, I will never again offer burnt offerings or sacrifices to any other god except the Lord.
Okay.
However, may the Lord pardon me in this one thing. When my master the king goes into the temple of the god Ramon to worship there and leans on my arm, may the Lord pardon me when I bow too. That's fair. He's like, look, I am totally on board with your king. Sounds awesome. I'm all here for it. But I also have a life and a job.
Right.
So could you just not be mad when I go along with the king?
Yeah.
He's like,
sure.
Forgive me, please.
Right.
I have principles, but I'm not going to die for them. Go in peace, Elisha said. So Naaman started home again. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
Good.
Right.
But Gehazi, the servant of Elisha, the man of God, said to himself, my master should not have let this Aramean get away without accepting any of his gifts. As surely as the Lord lives, I will chase after him and get something from him.
For yourself, maybe.
Oh, Gehazi.
Right? Like, what the fuck, man?
You can always depend on Gehazi to fuck it up.
Right.
So Gehazi set off after Naaman. When Naaman saw Gehazi running after him, he climbed down from his chariot and went to meet him. Is everything all right? Naaman asked. Yeah, Gehazi said, but my master has sent me to tell you that 2 young prophets from the hill country of Ephraim have just arrived. He would like 75 pounds of silver and 2 sets of clothing to give to them.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
By all means, take twice as much silver, Naaman insisted. I mean, yeah, I could see Naaman's like, you guys healed me of leprosy.
Right.
Fucking, I was trying to give you this anyway.
Right.
He doesn't know.
Right.
He gave him 2 sets of clothing, tied up the money in 2 bags, and sent 2 of his servants to carry the gifts for Gehazi. But when they arrived at the citadel, Gehazi took the gifts from the servants and sent the men back. Then he went and hid the gifts inside his house.
Because they weren't for fucking Elisha.
Right.
Who did it, and he took them for himself.
When he went into his master, Elisha asked him, where have you been, Gehazi?
Yeah, buddy.
I haven't been anywhere, he replied.
Oh, you're fucked, man.
Yep. But Elisha asked him, don't you realize that I was there in spirit when Naaman stepped down from his chariot to meet you?
This guy sounds too close to a fucking god, like a living god.
He's Jesus.
Right? Like, this is some bullshit.
He's this miracle dude that resurrects people.
This is weird.
He's Old Testament JC.
Right? Like,
he's like Jesus OG.
Like, we must have been like just this close to like worshiping Elisha instead of Jesus.
Yeah, I think so. Is this okay? So, dude is continuing.
Right.
Is this the time to receive money and clothing, olive groves and vineyards, sheep and cattle and male and female servants? Because you have done this, you and your descendants will suffer from Naaman's leprosy forever.
Oh, wow.
Shit!
Man, fucking screwed all your descendants, man.
Right? When Gehazi left the room, he was covered with leprosy. His skin was white as snow. The end.
Jesus.
That's so funny because when a lot of fairy tales are like white as snow.
Yeah.
And like Snow White is supposed to be all good and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
But white as snow, Snow White means you're covered with leprosy and you're gross and sick.
Right, yeah.
You nasty.
Well, that's okay. I mean,
that's a heavy price to pay for stealing.
It really is.
Like, I'm not saying that Gehazi, I don't know.
God's been kind of hands off, and then all of a sudden now, just because this dude's like Elisha's servant, he's like, I'm gonna kill you, or I'm gonna punish you and your whole fucking, all your kids and everything.
Like, if you found out, let me ask you this. You get cursed, right? And you get leprosy, and you've been told all of your progeny are going to get it too.
Right.
Wouldn't you just not have kids and let it die with you?
Well, yeah, of course.
Like, I'm just going to not get... who would want to fuck me anyways?
Well,
I have leprosy.
It doesn't matter. You're a man, and they're women, and it's the fucking Iron Age.
So you're saying that your leprosy nasty dick is going to fuck people?
I'm just saying.
You're going to rape. You nasty.
I'm not going to, just to be clear.
Okay.
But... we are talking about Iron Age dumb fucks.
Nasty men.
So, I'm just saying, like, that's probably going to happen.
I always come across as a man hater, but I'm like, but men are rapey. Generally speaking. In the Bible, they certainly are.
Right, yeah.
And yes, men get raped, but, like, the vast majority of people who do the raping are men.
Right.
So gross. I'm sorry. I'm not a man hater. I'm just, like, a rape hater.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I'm
I think
with
that's
you there.
fair.
I'm a rape hater, too.
I'm glad you are.
Yeah.
Neither of us wants to be raped, and neither of us wants other people to get raped.
That's right. That's right.
Even, you know what? Even McConnell, I wouldn't wish rape on him.
No, but he can fall down a flight of steps or something.
I would
get
not
really
cry.
badly bruised.
If he fell off of a house that didn't have battlements,
I would definitely. I mean, I don't want him to die.
I'm not trying to wish death on him, but if he was dead, I wouldn't cry.
Severely hurt would be funny. Like, you remember when it was all bruised up a while back?
Yeah,
that was funny.
That was funny.
I'm just saying.
I mean, okay, it's not nice to laugh at other people's pain, but it's just that he has caused so much pain for millions of people.
No, it's all relative, you know?
It is all relative. It's like, would you wish harm on Hitler? Like, my automatic answer is, of course.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, God, what kind of person am I? I'm wishing harm on another person. But...
It's the age-old question of, like, if you could go back and kill Hitler as a child.
Right.
Would you?
And I want to say yes because it would save millions.
Right.
But it's a kid who hasn't committed a crime yet.
Right. Exactly.
So that's so hard.
It's a hard question, right?
I'd probably do it, though. If I'm being honest, I'd probably do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'd feel disgusting the rest of my life.
Right. Right.
But I think I would rather feel disgusting over one death for the rest of my life that I caused rather than the millions that I let happen.
But then you gotta also ask, did Hitler happen because of Hitler, or did Hitler happen because of a movement that would have happened anyway?
And did God move his heart to do that? Oh,
so
shit.
I've heard that this is a thing that comes up as an argument all the time on things, is that technically Hitler claimed Christianity, but he was basically an atheist. Like, if you really dig into it, he was kind of an atheist.
Oh, are you serious?
To some extent, but he used Christianity to motivate his, Nazis.
Kind of like Trump.
Yeah, no, and that was the parallel I was trying to draw.
Oh,
is that it's very similar, because I don't believe for a second that Trump believes in God or knows the first goddamn thing about God.
He doesn't. He doesn't give a fuck about God.
Right.
It's not that he believes or doesn't believe. It's not even something he thinks about.
Right. He uses that for his platform. He uses it to gain followers.
Yeah.
He uses it to further his message. That's all. Yeah. That's all he does.
Yep.
And it is whatever. That's all. I don't know where I was going with that. I was just speaking more because I could.
Crusty. I just was thinking of the last words of this passage. His skin was white as snow, and then I was
just
like,
thinking crusty,
leprosy, crusty.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I don't even know what the fuck leprosy looks like, so.
I mean, isn't it like flaky skin and stuff? Like
maybe.
Eczema times 10?
I guess.
I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's not a thing anymore.
Right. No, that's great. All right. Well, that's, I think, all we got, because we're just going on about nothing.
That's the best me.
So that was 2 Kings chapter 5.
Indeed, it fucking was.
And tomorrow is actually going to be Saturday, which means that we'll be doing our Q&A.
We will be doing our Q&A. That is correct.
Right. I was waiting for you to chime in there, but you just kept looking at me with blank face. So
because I thought it was something special, and I was like,
it's always something special.
Okay, but I thought it was something special different. And so I was like, what am I forgetting?
No.
What am I forgetting? But on Sunday, we'll have Sacrilegious Book Club.
Yeah, that.
As well
as our weekly replay.
The weekly replay.
And then we'll be back on Monday, as always, with the next chapter of 2 Kings, which will be 6.
That was my part.
I'm sorry. I fucked it. I'm sorry. I fucked it all up.
I'm supposed to say.
Go ahead.
You're supposed to go.
Go ahead. So, and then on Monday, we'll be back with
2 Kings chapter 6.
There, and everything's better now with the world.
It almost is.
Just for that moment in time right there when you said it, everything for that moment right there.
It felt gross when you did. It was better. I kept waiting for you to shut up.
Yeah, I didn't shut up.
And then you didn't shut up. You just kept talking.
I didn't. You're right.
It made my stomach hurt. I was like, what are you doing?
I'm sorry. I'm sure that there were listeners out there that were like, no.
I mean, I was.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Do you know what today is?
I do. Do you know what today is?
Today is Q&A Saturday.
That's the one.
It is.
Yeah. So we had some questions.
We did have some Q's.
And now we're going to answer them?
I have some A's.
You have some A's?
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of our questions was about the difference between Beelzebub and Baalzebub.
Yeah.
And the other one was about that guy who sacrificed his son, and then the
weird.
Israelis. I said Israelis.
Yeah, no.
That is not correct.
Israelites.
The Israelites. I apologize. That was so wrong.
Yeah.
The Israelites were like, oh, sorry you're mad at me and I'm winning. Bye.
Right.
And we were like, what?
That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
okay, so let's go answer some cues.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so about Beelzebub and Baalzebub.
Beelzebub and Baalzebub.
And also Beelzebul.
And Beelzebul?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the short answer.
All right.
They're the same.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want a little bit more details on that,
I suppose. Sure, let's do it.
Okay, so Beelzebub and Baalzebub are the same, and they are associated with the Canaanite god Baal.
Okay. Yep.
And then Beelzebul is another one that we see somewhere.
At some point. Down the road.
And that is derived from a Philistine god.
Oh, interesting.
Okay? And Beelzebul is also the same name as Satan. Okay.
Got it. Beelzebul is?
Yeah.
I thought, because I've heard Beelzebub associated with Satan before,
they
too.
They are kind of all, it just depends on which part you're reading, what thing you're reading.
Got it.
Okay. So in Christian times, Lucifer came to be regarded as the name of Satan before his fall.
Okay.
So Lucifer was the angel.
Got it.
And then he fell, and then he became Satan.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Satan is the prince of devils. Beelzebub is the lord of flies and the lord of dung.
The lord of flies, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
You never heard that?
No.
Oh. I knew
And
that
dung,
one of them
huh?
was the lord of flies. You are dumb.
No, I said dung. I said dung.
I thought you said I'm dumb.
No, I did not.
Well, you are, though.
Oh, okay.
But yes, dung like doo-doo.
Got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then Lucifer, of course, is the fallen angel of light, or the light bearer, or the morning star, or the herald of the dawn.
Got it.
Okay? So
it sounds like even when it comes to who the fuck Lucifer, Satan, yada, yada, yada is, there's a lot of confusion even there.
There is. And sometimes it's all one entity. Sometimes it's various things that fall under like one, like Satan is the big one and all of the other ones fall under him. Sometimes they're all various demons and devils.
Right.
So it just...
But it seems like in like, just common vernacular today, most of the it was bad in the Bible is also considered the devil.
Right.
Like, when we're just talking Beelzebub and Lucifer and, whatever, like they all kind of refer back to that same entity. So
yes, but I have a thing to push back on that a little bit.
Okay.
Like you said that with regard to the Bible that it's like the devil or the evil thing in the Bible.
Sure.
In the Old Testament, Satan is viewed as the prosecutor of Yahweh's court.
Interesting.
Like, particularly, the example given was the book of Job.
Okay.
He's not regarded as an adversary of God, but a tool of God, and as the prosecutor, like so that arm.
He only became the devil because people misread him.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And then also the New Testament and Christianity onward, they had to have a bad guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's not our fault when we're evil. It's the
devil's fault.
The devil's fault.
Right.
And of course, there's the question of but the devil is something that God made.
Right. So, right.
There's that argument back and forth. And that's where you get a lot of like current television that has a sympathetic view of the devil, or that like the show Lucifer.
Right.
Shows just this humanizing and, like I said, sympathetic take on it to try to make the story a little bit more palatable.
Right. I mean, the devil did go down to Georgia.
He did.
Right?
He did it, but he lost that contest what I heard.
He did, yeah.
So, Satan's task in that whole not an adversary, but just a prosecutor.
Yeah.
His task is to roam the earth, seeking out acts or persons to be reported adversely to the king.
Okay, so he's a tattletale, essentially.
Yes.
Okay.
And his function, thus, is the opposite of that of the eyes of the Lord. So, like the angels and stuff.
Yeah.
Which roam the earth, strengthening all that is good.
Got it.
Okay.
Except for that one time when they blocked Balaam's passage and then almost killed him. That was
Balaam.
Balaam, yeah, sorry. Yeah. He wasn't strengthening anything there. He was just ready to kill him.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Again, it just depends on what part of the Bible you're reading.
Right. And also God sent the people of the angels to destroy what were the two cities? The Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
So they did not strengthen anything there other than, God's a dick.
Well, yeah.
So
one might say that they were supporting God by getting rid of evil.
Sure.
But I think that's a stretch.
That is definitely a stretch.
So through his subordinate demons, Satan can take possession of human bodies, afflicting them or making them diseased.
Interesting.
And that's where you get shows like what we're watching currently on Paramount is Evil.
Right.
And it is so good, you guys. It's actually an award-winning show. Oh, I didn't realize that.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some things that were, as far as quality, that we were
Okay.
But it's fun.
Let's just say the acting is phenomenal, right? The acting is phenomenal. Some of the characters, like the daughters, we just are like, stop. Just stop.
Yeah, the daughters are trash.
We hate the daughters. We hate the way the daughters are written. The actresses are fine, and the daughters would be fine if they were written less annoying.
Right.
And the main character girl is not defined enough in her agnosticism and in her possession or whatever.
I think that's where it lacks, is the writing has fallen a little short here and there.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good enough show, but, like, the writing falls short occasionally.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's it.
But this is not a review about the show Evil.
No, I just really like to talk about TV.
Right.
Because I watch it.
Right.
So, okay. And, we're talking about the devil. And so it's interesting to talk about what kind of shows that paint the devil in various lights.
Right.
So, in the show Lucifer, we've got the devil is this nice guy who was misunderstood, you know? And then in Evil, it's definitely this adversary and the Lord of Flies, and he is very evil.
Right.
So it's just interesting that this one entity can create so much storyline and diversity in personality.
Well, and TV likes to write about the devil a lot more than they do about God.
Well, sure.
Generally speaking, I would say.
Good is boring.
Good is kind of boring, yeah.
So, okay, that was that question.
Okay.
So, the next question was the three kings, Jehoshaphat, and I forget who the other two were. They joined up, and they were going to attack the Moabites.
Okay.
Remember?
Yeah.
And then the Moabite king was like, oh no, we're losing or whatever. And so he's like, I'm going to kill my son. I'm going to sacrifice him and stuff.
Right?
Yeah. And so we were like, wow, what? That escalated quickly. Jesus Christ.
Right.
So that act showed how desperate the king of Moab was following his defeat on the field.
Okay. Yeah.
And he did this to honor his pagan gods.
Okay.
And to show his own people his determination to prevent defeat.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a show of strength that he did this, not desperation.
Sure.
Okay?
I get that.
And hold on, I'm not done.
Okay.
Okay. So when the Israelites saw this, particularly Jehoshaphat, they were like, Jesus Christ, this guy's not going to quit. Like, he just sacrificed his own fucking son to pagan gods.
Right.
And so they realized at that point that they could keep fighting and they could knock down a lot, but they were never going to be able to match that amount of will. Because Jehoshaphat was of God or whatever.
Yeah.
But he was still not all in, right? And the other two were not God at all.
Right.
They were all kind of bad, right?
Yeah.
So they didn't have this, well, we've got God on our side, so we'll just keep fighting.
But God was technically on their side.
Technically, but not, they didn't trust in him. You know what I mean? They were not godly people.
Okay, and that's fine. That's fine. But like in the past, though, and this is what bothers me, I guess, is that in the past, if God was on the side of whoever, generally the Israelites, right? And then somebody questioned their faith by not doing what was expected of them, they would be punished.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. They did not reach out and ask God for help, and they were not instructed in any way. So they weren't disobeying because they hadn't asked for help.
Okay.
They were just stumbling around in the dark doing their thing.
Got it. So, like, essentially, God's not very much in control right now. Like, God is kind of secondary to even, like, pagan gods and stuff.
Yeah. And that is a big deal.
Like, even the Bible is admitting it by saying this pagan god was, this king sacrificed his son to this pagan god, and the Israelites stopped in their tracks and fucking quit fighting.
Yeah.
Because this god, according to what was written, this god and the possibility of it existing or whatever was more powerful than Yahweh.
Because they were not fully on board with Yahweh.
No, I get it. It. But like it's literally in the Bible that God essentially was defeated by another god.
Yes and no.
In a way.
It was the people's lack of faith and lack of living correctly. The people were defeated by the pagans. The people's lack of faith was defeated by this other guy's absolute faith.
Got it.
Misplaced, but still strong.
It just strikes me. It doesn't help boost the argument for God, though.
No,
like
absolutely
in any
not.
way whatsoever.
Absolutely not.
Because it's just it stinks of weakness to me.
It does.
It's
it
not.
Really does. Uninvolvement is weakness to me.
Right. Now, I mean, there's no way that there's nothing that we have read thus far that brings me anywhere near believing in God.
Right.
Like, in fact, most of this has just been trash shit that I'm like, I wouldn't even believe in you if you did exist, because fuck you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But, like, when I read stuff like this, I'm like, why do we never hear about any of this kind of stuff? Like, why is this never discussed? Why don't we talk about these weak points where God was weak? You know, like, this would be, at the very least, if priests and pastors brought this up and talked about it, it could allow for failure. It could allow for not perfect, right?
Well, the way that they would spin it, though, would not be what you're saying. It wasn't God being weak. It was man being weak.
Right, but the way I view, the way God is portrayed in churches is essentially the way that swimsuit models are towards, young women who are worried about their image.
Okay.
Like, sorry, this is a long walk, I guess, but like.
No, I'm here to follow.
Yeah, no, I got you. So they portray God in such a way that, for people that don't read the Bible, the way God is portrayed and Jesus is portrayed is that your love has to be perfect and all encompassing, and you have to accept, and it's got to be perfect.
You got to be all in,
right? But that's not really the case if you actually read the entire Bible. The entire Bible says, well, you can be perfect. Solomon, for example, he was perfect up until that last fucking chapter in the book, right? When
suddenly he had 1,000 wives or whatever.
Yeah. And God loved this dude. Like, he was all about Solomon, right? And then all of a sudden he's bad. But there's also been people that fuck up and they're like, but I'm going to, that have been working for the wrong side. And they're like, I, bow to your, because I saw his power, and then God accepts them.
Right.
But then he also curses entire generations. Like, there's just no consistency.
There's no consistency that we can see, yeah.
Right. And it crazy to me.
It makes it very difficult to try to have any sympathy for this character, much less for those who choose to follow him.
Right. And all I'm saying is that the way that God is portrayed to, churches and to the people that follow churches is that it's a perfect God. It's a God that deserves all of your love and all your respect and all your, all the things and all the money.
Right. Definitely all the money.
But if they taught the flaws as well, and I'm not even saying you have to be like anti-God, but like if you taught the flaws that are inherent in the Bible as well, you could maybe allow for people not to have this like crazy view about what they have to do in life in order to win God's love.
Right.
It's just I don't know. It's too much. It's too much to live up to, and it's just not. You don't even have, like, the Bible allows for other things to be said that you could say and say, well, yes, even God's fucked up.
Right.
Right. And even God, even people that were there when he was around didn't fully believe. Right. I understand. You can be understanding to someone who doesn't fully understand and doesn't believe, because you can say, well, I understand because I've read the Bible and this is where this happens. And, I'm not trying to say, I'm just saying, I think that it's just not, there's no room for error in Christianity. You have to, it's all love for God.
Well, and that is something that I can say on a personal basis with my parents. They think that the people who are like Jesus freaks and who are really into the peace and love of Jesus and forgiveness and all that, that they're wrong, because that is a just do your best to be a good person attitude. And they're like, no, it's more than that.
Right.
You have to do all the God all the way. And
but even they haven't read all the Bible, because
clearly
they're not doing all, I could, if we really wanted to, I could take your parents' actions, even just around us, and I could say, this is not godly. This is not, I guarantee you have mixed threads in your fucking shirts.
Yeah.
I guarantee you've done this, that, or the other.
Well, the thing is their kind of Christianity, they want to say that they are living by the Old Testament rules without living by the Old Testament rules, but they also want to say that they are with Jesus and Jesus is Lord and King and blah, 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 but that also Jesus is too weak.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They
want their cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter, because they're not actually the ones reading the Bible. They're reading the bits that somebody tells them to read.
Sure.
And then they're saying that they agree with they essentially think they've read I guarantee if we talk to your parents and ask them if they read the Bible, they would say yes.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I also guarantee in the same breath, they have not read the entire Bible. At least if they have, not in the straight through method.
No.
And not without a coach nearby.
Right.
I
absolutely
you may have
agree
touched
with you.
every section, but you haven't read the Bible.
Right. No, I totally agree with you on that.
So, I don't know. I just...
It's very frustrating.
It really is.
Because we're trying to find a way to understand. We're trying to come into this story and this world and be like, okay, give me your best case, present yourself.
And at this point, I feel like I'm just holding out for the New Testament, because I'm like, no, I got nothing, man.
This is trash.
This is crap.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, we're having fun with this.
Sure.
I'm enjoying doing what we're doing,
Sure.
and I love learning about it, because it just it reinforces my beliefs. It reinforces my belief that there is no God. You know. And it's just, there's no way. There's no fucking way.
I agree.
That's
100%.
All. That's all I got.
I started out agnostic, and now I'm pretty hard atheist.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how far I've come. So there you go.
Well, it's this wonderful idea, right? You just, on the side, it's like, yeah, okay, God, sure.
Well, mostly my agnosticism wasn't I allow for possibilities so much as that I'm well, in my personal life, it doesn't really matter one way or the other.
Right. But you don't even want to be associated with this fucker, do you?
No. I'm no, there's absolutely no God, because this God of this book is just human trash.
Yeah, right. Definitely. All right. We're going on a bit here, so we're going to go ahead and cut this off, and we will be back tomorrow with
Sacrilegious Book Club.
That's the one. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow for the book club and the wrap up, and then we'll be back on Monday with
2 Kings chapter 6.
See you guys.
Bye. Husband.
Wife.
Even though it's late, do you know what we're doing?
We're doing the
Sacrilegious Book Club.
Yeah, that. See, you can't ask me. You're the one that has to say it.
Well, I wanted to make sure you knew what we were doing.
But how do you know I knew? I just threw it back at you.
Because if you threw it back at me, then that tells me that you know.
It could also be the Saturday Q&A.
But that's not what we're doing because we already did that.
But
we already did that.
You can only officially narrow it down to 2.
But we already did that. So there was only 1.
You expect me to remember what I did yesterday?
Well, we literally just talked about it, so yeah.
When did we talk about it?
Right before you hit record. You said...
I can't remember a few seconds ago.
Oh my God. Okay, just stop. This is ridiculous. So we're doing the book of Leviticus.
Okay.
That is what we're doing.
What pages was it going over?
In Asimov's Guide to the Bible, it is pages 154 through 164. We did not break it up into sections thus far, or because of that. What am I saying?
I have no idea.
We did not break it up into sections because it's only 10 pages long.
Oh, okay.
So I'm doing the whole book.
Whole book.
The whole book.
One shot.
One shot.
Okay.
Sorry.
Awesome.
I'm still not all here. I'm kind of sick, so
all right,
sorry.
Let's go do this.
Sorry. Bye. Okay, so we are doing the book of Leviticus in Asimov's Guide to the Bible.
Straight through.
We're in the Old Testament.
All of Leviticus.
Yeah, starting on page 154.
All of it.
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so first of all, he starts with an explanation of why this particular book is called Leviticus.
Okay.
And this kind of makes sense, but I'm like, oh.
It's the Levi tribe.
Yeah, but okay, listen. But listen. So in Hebrew, the first words are, and he called. Okay? So the Hebrew title of the book is actually called. Okay?
Okay.
Remember how Levite equals priest and vice versa? Priest equals Levite? Like we just discussed that.
Right.
So this book is about stuff that the priests are super interested in.
Right. At least in the Bronze Age.
Right. I mean, back then, those priests were like super interested in it.
Right.
So it's also called the priest book or the Levitical book or Leviticus.
Got it.
So
we find, I'm just saying like real quick here, like some of these rules aren't adhered to quite as stringently when we get further on in the Bible.
Oh, no, they are not. And Asimov has zero problem pointing out those things, which I love about him.
Right.
And speaking of love about him, I just loved this phrase. Okay. He goes, the book is virtually one long section of the P document given over to ritualistic detail so that it is easily the dullest book in the Bible to the casual reader.
By far.
By far. Easily the dullest book.
Yes.
That just killed me. I was like,
yes,
indeed. So that was a really short section. Also on the same page, 154, he talks about the word leaven, which that has to do with unleavened bread or leavened bread.
Yep.
So, okay, he says, originally the flour used in making bread was simply baked into flat, hard cakes that had the virtue of remaining fit to eat for long periods of time. Okay, so it's like they had natural preservatives built in.
Right.
Okay. Dough left standing would pick up microorganisms and begin to ferment. And while yummy when fresh, it would not keep as well.
Right.
And quickly become dry and moldy.
Sure.
So then he says, to the Israelites, fermentation seemed a form of corruption. And however pleasant leavened bread might be to eat, there was still the stigma of corruption and impurity about it.
I see.
So bread to be offered on the altar to God must be pure and uncorrupt and must therefore be unleavened.
That's a shame because leavened bread.
Bread is so num.
So good.
And it smells great. Okay. Next section is unclean on page...
Unclean.
on page 156.
Yeah.
Okay, he says, to us, clean and unclean tends to be a hygienic matter.
Right.
Something is unclean if it is dirty or has an offensive smell.
Correct.
Or is laden with dangerous bacteria.
Correct.
The biblical use of the term involves religious ritual.
Right.
Then further
but also cleanliness.
Right. Right. It's true, but usually when they say it, they mean it in a religious sense, not a hygienic sense.
Right.
Or at the very least that there is some religious ritual to the hygiene.
Right.
So further on, he says, the basis on which animals are divided into clean and unclean is not known.
Okay.
So remember, like, they were telling us with cloven hooves and chew the cud and some yes and some no.
So there's no, like, scientific reasoning behind that or anything.
Nope.
Just random. Ish.
And he said, I always assumed it was to enforce safety and hygiene in food preparation and consumption.
Right.
And it could be, but it could also be to differentiate them from surrounding cultures.
Okay.
Because the more that you have specific rules that are like, this is how our club operates.
Right.
Then it gives you something that sets your club apart from all the other clubs around you.
Yeah, and I suppose if you're hunting different stuff than the other ones, then that makes it easier to hunt for stuff. Right?
True.
I'm just saying.
But it's also like, in Mean Girls, we wear pink on Wednesdays.
Right.
Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, okay, next section is the Day of Atonement, page 157.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. In addition to the rules about cleanliness, Leviticus is also concerned with the consequences of sin.
Yeah.
So he says, Asimov says, to sin, that is, to disobey the commandments of God, involves separation from God. To cancel sin according to a prescribed ritual is to restore oneself to the presence of God, to make oneself more at one with God. The sinner must atone, therefore, or make atonement.
Got it.
So that's what the Day of Atonement was about. It was about getting rid of the sin and starting over.
Reaching back out to God or whatever.
Yeah, putting yourself back into a starting place or whatever.
That's why we haven't seen God. We have never atoned.
Whatever. I don't plan to either. I'm only sorry for what I'm sorry for. Yeah. And I'm not going to be sorry for things that I don't think I need to be sorry for.
I'm totally with you. Just,
fuck off.
That was funny.
With your judgment.
I wasn't judging you.
Not you, like God. Fuck off with your judgment.
Oh, okay.
I will be the boss of what I am sorry about.
Okay.
That's all.
Got it.
Okay, the next section is Azazel on page 158.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. He says, and this is a quote from, I forget where it is, and I didn't write it down. That was dumb. It's from the Bible.
Right.
It's from Leviticus.
Yeah.
And Aaron shall cast lots upon the 2 goats. One lot for the Lord and the other lot for the scapegoat.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember that.
So the priest drew lots, right?
Right.
One goat would be, quote, sacrificed to the Lord as atonement for the sins of the nation. The other would be led off into the wilderness.
Oh, Zen.
Bearing with it all those sins.
Yeah.
So that punishment might befall it rather than the nation of Israel and its people.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So the escaped goat, what was it called?
A scapegoat.
A scapegoat, which is any person or object who, himself innocent, suffers vicariously for the deeds of another.
Yeah.
And we still use that term to this day. Yeah.
That goat got a raw deal.
Right? So the Hebrew word translated into scapegoat is Azazel.
Okay.
Which, does that sound familiar at all?
It does, but I don't know.
It's a devil-y type word.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure.
So the way that I read that quote was, and Aaron shall cast lots upon the 2 goats, one lot for the Lord and the other lot for the scapegoat. But how it reads in older texts is, and Aaron shall cast lots upon the 2 goats, one lot for the Lord and the other lot for his Azazel.
Got it. So it's almost like they were worshiping 2 gods, sort of?
No.
I mean,
no.
Ish.
They were, maybe, kind of.
Maybe kind of.
But there's no other mention of the word Azazel in the Bible.
Okay. All right.
So, here is Asimov's suggestions. Maybe it's a demon dwelling in the wilderness.
Sure.
Okay. That they were like, here, get these sins away from us. You go out to that demon.
Right.
Or Azazel could be one of the fallen angels who would not accept that man was superior.
Okay.
Like, that's why Lucifer fell, right?
Yeah.
Or it could be the chief of those fallen angels who lusted after women, the act which brought on the flood. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Like the fallen angels, they were getting busy with human women.
Yep.
And then God was like, this is gross.
Right.
My angels are fucking my people.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Making giants.
So he was like, flood that.
Yeah.
So Asimov is like, but here's some suggestions.
Sure.
So.
Okay.
The next section is Devils, page 159.
Okay.
Which I just find it so interesting that this is what we're talking about, given where we're at in our natural reading,
Yeah.
we're talking about some of this stuff.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So Leviticus chapter 17, verse 7 says, "And they shall no more offer their sacrifice unto devils." So the word devil comes from the Greek diabolos, which is funny because you know the game Diablo. I knew you were going to think of that, so I went ahead and did it for you.
Right.
And that word means slanderer. So Asimov says, the name applies to evil spirits that slander God in men's ears, urging them on to disobedience and sin. Devils comes from the Hebrew serum, or wild goats.
Oh.
Okay, so Asimov has another couple things to say here.
Yeah.
Okay, and these kind of blew my mind.
Okay.
The Greeks visualized the woods to be full of nature spirits in the shape of men with the horns, tail, and hindquarters of goats, always in a state of sexual heat. They called them satyrs, and the word has entered the modern psychiatric vocabulary to represent men suffering from insatiable sexual desires.
Huh.
Then furthermore, he says, the popular conception of Satan today with his horns, tail, and cloven hoof shows that he is still pictured as a satyr.
I see.
And did you know that the word satyr is where the word satire comes from?
I didn't know that.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I love etymology.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next section is blood on page 160.
Okay.
And Asimov says, blood is considered to contain the principle of life, as is reasonable, seeing that long continued bleeding will kill a man who seems otherwise unharmed.
Right.
Life as a creation of God cannot be appropriated by man, and man cannot therefore eat blood.
Got it.
So that's why there's that whole commandment of don't fucking eat blood, guys.
Right.
It comes from because blood is the life thing, the life force.
Yeah.
And even before Leviticus, God had told Noah not to consume blood. So it was like in there early on. It was like a old rule.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next section is familiar spirits on page 161. Do you have a familiar spirit?
I do not.
I do not either. So Leviticus chapter 19, verse 31 says, "Regard them not that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards." Okay? Now, wizard is a wise man, presumably one who knows how to bend supernatural forces to his will.
Mm-hmm.
The Bible does not say that such spirits do not exist,
I
or
see.
that wizards do not have the power to which they pretend. The objection rests on the fact that the rites practiced by wizards are idolatrous. And that's something that you and I have pointed out with regard to other gods. The Bible does not say that these other magics, these other gods, these other ghosts, these other things, the Bible doesn't say they don't exist.
Right.
It gives you rules on whether or not to recognize them or how to behave with them.
Well, and just in the mere acceptance of these other weird ideas, right, is partly why it still seems so absurd. Like,
Right,
you know,
right.
like the Bible allows for these things to exist. Therefore, we all agree now that those other things don't exist, but we still don't agree on God.
Right.
But they were all there in the Bible.
Right.
So
exactly.
It's all or nothing, guys.
I know.
It's all ridiculous or nothing is
It's
ridiculous.
like if you believe that the Bible is God's word and you believe that God is real, then you also have to believe, as the Bible points out, that there are other gods.
Right.
And there are such things as magic and witches and people that can tell the future and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the feminine word for wizard is, of course, witch.
Got it.
And so women bore the brunt of that tagline much more heavily than men did.
What do you think? Because
Yeah.
wizard is like cool, and
Yeah.
you know, witch is like burn at the stake.
And yeah,
drown
and
them.
that is specifically stated in the Bible, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
Right.
And so a lot of old women or women who lived on their own would get that treatment.
right.
That
right.
men did not.
Yeah.
So Asimov says, ancient pagan practices endured undercover throughout the centuries of Christian Europe. Fighting witchcraft was sometimes Christianity's way of fighting an older and competing religion.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it still kind of is a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, they still treat it as an enemy.
Right.
At some level.
Right.
Like, obviously, they're not out there, like, fighting it, but...
But they would say that, we're being Christian and we're just fighting, we don't want witches to live. But what they were really doing was fighting pagans.
Right.
So I just found that really interesting.
Yeah.
So the next section is Molech on page 162.
Oh, right. Molech.
Molech comes from the word Melech, M-E-L-E-C-H, which means king. Okay?
Yeah.
The biblical writers excuse me, I'm so sorry. The biblical writers avoided referring to idols as kings or lords by instead calling them Bosheth, which means shame. Okay? So, you know how like they would not call God by his name and instead they had just those certain letters?
Yeah.
Okay? So that's what they would do with idols. They would call them something else instead of whatever the name of the god was or whatever.
Sure.
Okay, so the word Bosheth, shame, became Melech when diacritical marks were added, and eventually Melech became Molech. I had to go back and look. Wait, what again are diacritical marks?
Yeah.
Do you remember when they wouldn't call God by his name, so they used those letters instead, and then they put the pronunciation marks underneath. The Jewish scholars placed little diacritical marks under the Hebrew consonants, indicating the vowel sounds that went with each of them in each particular word.
Got it.
And we covered that like several pages back, or several sections back, but I just wanted to reiterate that it applied to more than just the word God or Yahweh or Yahweh.
Got it.
It also it applied to anything that they wanted to make sure people throughout history would remember how to pronounce once memory was gone of how to pronounce it.
Sure.
Okay, so Asimov goes on to say the worship of Molech involved the sacrifice of children. Primitive men felt that the dearer and more loved the object sacrificed to a god, the more impressed the god would be, and the more apt to answer the prayer. Which that makes a little bit, like that lends a little bit more logic to why they would do that.
Yeah.
So they were saying that their children were their most precious thing, and they would give that up to God for help in times of dire
It just
need.
seems like the favor would favor the sociopaths, you know?
Right?
The ones that don't give a fuck about anybody.
Right? Well, and here's my thing. What kind of dire situation is going to be made better without supposedly the child who was your most precious possession?
Right.
Your child is somebody that you love more than anything in life. That's
hypothetically, according, you know, I mean, yes, in our case, yes, but like, you know,
but that's why they would be giving it up, right? And so you're telling me that being without this child is still going to be better than whatever dire situation you're in. That
I mean, it could make so like stupid. The king sacrificed his son, right?
Yeah,
they were all going to die, like they were all surrounded by the Israelites, right?
Right.
Is it better? Is it better that his son dies or that all of his people die?
So he did it to save his people, but these regular, ordinary people were sacrificing their children. Right.
But I'm just saying, kings. Like, there could be circumstances where maybe it would be deemed okay.
No, I get it. I get it. That king who killed his son, even though it's gross and despicable and stupid, like, I get why he did that. He did it because he thought it was best for his people.
Right.
Therefore, you can look at that as, in ignorance, though, he did commit an honorable act. But
in reality, it worked out.
Right, that's true.
I mean, according to the Bible.
It's true. It did. You're right. But when we see an ordinary person do it, they're not...
Right. No, they're an asshole.
They're not doing it like... You don't owe your whole, like, I'm going to kill my kids so that the entire land will...
have crops or something.
Yeah, like, that just seems so...
Yeah, no, fuck that.
Stupid. I don't know. Whatever. I can't possibly get into the mindset. I'm just way too... biased and of this century.
Right.
So Asimov goes on to say many men of the period applied the word Melech to Yahweh and assumed themselves to be sacrificing to God in an approved manner, as Abraham was ready to do in sacrificing Isaac. So they did not necessarily view this as a competing...
they thought they were worshiping Yahweh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's just another way that different religious practices kind of intermingled.
So it's also almost like Baptist versus Lutheran.
Yeah.
Like...
Really. Or Baptist versus Catholics, you know? Like, who's got the right of it?
Sure.
No, you're both stupid.
Right.
So the next and final section is Jubilee. And that is on page 163.
Okay.
Jubilee was a special festival which was never put thoroughly into practice, which I think is funny.
Yeah, that is funny.
Right? Asimov says, in a way, it was a method of starting things fresh every half century so as to prevent the accumulation of economic injustice. It was a beautiful idea, but impractical.
Okay.
So,
I mean...
it never... Really,
they didn't want to give up their slaves. Really, that's what it boiled down to. So.
And they didn't want to switch out.
Right.
You know?
Right. I don't know if it was impractical, but people didn't practice it.
Well, people were involved. That made it impractical.
Sure.
People are greedy fucks.
Yeah.
The Book of Jubilees, this is something separate. Okay. There's this item called the Book of Jubilees.
Got it.
It was written about 100 BCE. And it's sometimes called the Lesser Genesis or the Book of Division. It's an ancient Jewish religious work of 50 chapters.
Okay. And
1,341 verses.
Damn.
The book is considered one of the pseudepigrapha. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong.
Right.
I'll tell you again what that means in a second.
Okay.
It's considered a pseudo whatever by Roman Catholic, Eastern Orthodox, and Protestant churches. It is also not considered canonical within Judaism outside of Ethiopian Jews. Okay. Pseudepigrapha are falsely attributed works, texts whose claimed author is not the true author, or a work whose real author attributed it to a figure of the past. So it's just like false works that are still like some would consider the Dead Sea Scrolls to be this pseudepigrapha.
Right.
But they're not.
Right.
But anyway, this book was well known to early Christians, and the text was also utilized by the community that originally collected the Dead Sea Scrolls. No complete Greek or Latin version is known to have survived, but there is some like odd translation and some like weird language that I've never heard of.
Right.
That is believed to be the only translation available to us today.
Gotcha.
And it was part of the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Interesting.
The Book of Jubilees claims to present, quote, the history of the division of the days of the law, of the events of the years, the year weeks, and the jubilees of the world, as revealed to Moses by angels while he was on Mount Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights.
Okay.
And so Asimov mentioned the Book of Jubilees, and I kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit hole and looked it up, and that's where I got all that extra information about it, because I was like, I'm sorry, say what?
Right,
The Book of who?
Right.
The Jubilee of what?
Yeah.
So it's just a thing that's out there that is basically like a Jewish fable kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So that is it for Leviticus.
Okay.
And next weekend we will start the Book of Numbers. Numbers goes from page 165 to page 192.
Okay.
So for our first one, we're just going to read pages 165 to 174.
Okay.
And that will cover the following topics: Numbers, the sum of the congregation, the Ethiopian woman, Caleb, Zin, Kadesh, Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, the pit, and Mount Hor.
Awesome.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that's that.
All right.
Okay.
Well, that was fun. We learned quite a bit.
Fun and interesting.
Yeah.
That was the whole book of Leviticus.
Right. That was the whole fucking book of Leviticus.
I'm so glad he buzzed through it.
Right.
He buzzed through it so much better than I did.
Yep. All right. Well, that was our book club for the week, and
apologies again for it being late.
Yeah. So, our replay will be coming out here in just a second too. So as soon as I get done posting this, the replay will be coming out as well. So
we will see you next week for Sacrilegious Book Club.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, wife. I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.